At my 18th birthday coming-of-age ceremony, my father brought a young man over and asked if I liked him. I fell in love with Ji Yaoting at first sight. I unconditionally curried favor with his father, helped him seize the family fortune, and gifted him company shares. Yet after our marriage, he seized my family's company, drove my parents to madness, and caused my death while I was pregnant with our child. If you hadn't insisted on marrying me, I wouldn't have broken up with Jiang Luo. I wouldn't have forced her into marrying a man 30 years her senior. On the day of your coming-of-age ceremony, she was planning to come and confess her feelings to me. He's talking about that girl who failed the college entrance exam and ended up working at a KTV back at 18 again. My father dragged Ji Yaoting right in front of me once more. This time, I ditched him and brought Jiang Luo to school with me. I want to stay away from that scumbag, and so does she. Wan Ningning, your dad is asking if you like this boy. My father's voice snapped me back to reality. I looked at Ji Yaoting standing before me, handsome, clean-cut, and tall with an elegant bearing. Memories from my past life flashed through my mind. I am the only daughter of the Meng family. My family isn't exactly rolling in money, but both my dad and mom run their own companies. As their daughter, I've been sheltered and well taken care of since I was little. Guys have been chasing after me one after another, but I've never been interested in any of them. The way they look at me is full of aggression and possessiveness, as if I were some kind of object. But Ji Yaoting is different. His gaze is pure, even carrying a hint of youthful pride and aloofness. I fell in love at first sight. After I gave my nod of agreement, my father and his mother arranged our engagement, and we married as soon as we came of legal age. My misfortune began from that moment. He seized the company, drove my parents to madness, and then framed me, while I was pregnant, as having lost my mind, claiming I threw myself down the stairs in a fit of insanity, resulting in 2 lives lost. It's all your fault. If you hadn't insisted on marrying me, I wouldn't have had to break up with Jiang Luo. You forced her to marry a man 30 years her senior. On the day of your coming-of-age ceremony, she was going to come and confess her feelings to me. Ji Yaoting told me that the misfortune that befell my entire family, including the child in my womb, was all because he was pining for another woman. At this very moment, Ji Yaoting looked at me, his brow slightly furrowed. I don't know why, but he seemed even colder than when I first met him in my previous life. His gaze wasn't just aloof, it held disgust, mixed with a trace of worry, as if he was terrified I might say I liked him. I shook my head, turned to my dad with a sweet smile, and said, Dad, he's not my type. Too. If the price of loving Ji Yaoting is the ruin of my family, then I will gladly strangle this affection. All I feel for him now is hatred. I will only be satisfied when everything he missed in his past life remains lost, and everything he possesses slips through his fingers. My answers seemed to take Ji Yaoting by surprise, his eyebrows lifting in an involuntary arch. Just then, Ji Yaoting's mother walked over to me, took my hand, and said with a smile, Look how handsome my son is. Not only are his grades excellent, he's a great basketball player, and he can play the piano too. He even has an 8-pack. Ji Yaoting's mother wasn't lying. He has a great physique. His academic performance is solid. These are all genuine, undeniable strengths. I deftly pulled my hand free from Mrs. G's grasp and said, But I'm really not interested, Auntie. I'm sorry, but my heart belongs to someone else. What? You're in love with someone else? My dad and Ji Yaoting's mother asked in unison. Even Ji Yaoting's face registered a flicker of astonishment. I asked Ningning's best friend and confirmed that this girl doesn't have a secret crush on any boy. I never imagined she was just hiding her feelings so well. This is rather awkward, but it also shows that we truly weren't meant to become in-laws. My father was trying to smooth things over with Ji Yaoting's mother. Ji Yaoting's mother could only purse her lips and shoot him a look of exasperation, as if he were hopelessly disappointing in my past life. I thought my father was simply trying to set me up with an outstanding boyfriend. It took me a lifetime to finally understand why Ji Yaoting's mother introduced me to him. Ji Yaoting's mother divorced his father when he was just 1 year old, taking a portion of the family's assets and custody of their son. Back then, the Ji family wasn't as powerful as it is today. Later, they rose to prominence and successfully took their company public. She thought that with their son in her custody, the Ji family would surely try to win them back, but she never expected his father to remarry the very next year and quickly have another son, who happens to be my age. His name is Ji Yaochen. He's the one I mentioned, the person I like. 3. In this life, I chose to stay away from Ji Yaoting, so the whole coming-of-age ceremony turning into an engagement party scenario never happened. As soon as the birthday party ended, Ji Yaoting couldn't wait any longer. He hastily hailed a cab and sped off toward the university. I knew he was rushing off to meet Jiang Luo, who was about to confess her feelings to him. Too bad. In this lifetime, Jiang Luo won't be confessing anything to him. I returned home, carrying a brand new cake in my hand. Jiang Luo was reading a book under the lamplight. She was pleasantly surprised to see the cake in my hand. I told you not to bring anything for me. A faint blush rose to her cheeks, a sign of her embarrassment, since you didn't dare to come to my birthday party. I brought the cake back. Let's celebrate again, just the two of us, I said then. I caught sight of the letter on her desk, addressed to Ji Yaoting. Jiang Luo sighed. My desk mate asked me to give this love letter to Ji Yaoting. Was it wrong of me not to help her? Confessing your feelings is something you should do yourself. What's the point of sending someone else? It could lead to misunderstandings, I said. Give the letter back to your desk mate tomorrow and tell her to confess to Ji Yaoting herself. Jiang Luo nodded emphatically and shared the cake with me the next day. Word got around that Ji Yaoting, a sophomore from the neighboring department, had camped out at the school gate all night, waiting for someone. He even brought a camera, ready to film something. But after waiting through the night, the person never showed up. The story spread like wildfire across campus. Jiang Luo returned the letter to her deskmate, who then went to confess to Ji Yaoting. Not only did he push her away, but he also yelled at her, calling her shameless. Jiang Luo and I were walking along the campus path when Ji Yaoting suddenly appeared in front of us. His eyes were red and slightly swollen. Upon seeing Jiang Luo, he let out a sigh of relief and walked toward her. Jiang Luo instinctively moved closer to me. Why didn't you show up last night? Ji Yaoting asked. Jiang Luo pointed at her own nose. You're asking me, shouldn't you have come to confess to me last night? Ji Yaoting added. Jiang Luo thought for a moment and quickly shook her head. No, why would I confess to you? A flicker of confusion passed through Ji Yaoting's eyes, and then his gaze shifted to me. Was it you? You're the one who stopped her from coming to confess to me, aren't you? Ji Yaoting asked through gritted teeth. I was speechless. Jiang Luo has never once said she liked you or wanted to confess to you. Don't you think your behavior right now is incredibly presumptuous and rude? This is between Jiang Luo and me. What's it got to do with you, you vicious woman? The look Ji Yaoting gave me was positively venomous. Jiang Luo tugged on my sleeve and whispered, is he out of his mind? I barely even know him. Yeah, he's just crazy. Let's ignore him, I said with a smirk. Jiang Luo nodded and quickly pulled me away. Ji Yaoting stood there in a daze, utterly bewildered, for Ji Yaoting had no idea that, haunted by the tragedy of my past life, the very first thing I did upon waking was to find Jiang Luo and ask her if she liked him. She told me she never liked Ji Yaoting. All she wanted was to study hard, get into university, and achieve her dreams, but she failed the exam. Remembering everything Ji Yaoting did to me in my past life, I was determined to stay far away from him this time. I would never let the same tragedy play out again. As I looked at the innocent girl before me, I couldn't help but wonder how Ji Yaoting would retaliate if he ever found out Jiang Luo didn't like him at all. Besides, things didn't end well for her later on, and I felt I could do something about it. I offered to sponsor her so she could repeat her final year of high school and retake the university entrance exams. I also told her she absolutely had to stay away from Ji Yaoting, and that's how it all started. 5. I found the best tutors for Jiang Luo, covering every subject. She was incredibly grateful to me. I even set up a room for her at my place, right across from mine. We could see each other the moment we opened our doors, since Jiang Luo was staying at my house the entire summer. Ji Yaoting couldn't find her anywhere, so he came looking for me instead. Right now, downstairs at my place, Ji Yaoting is glaring at me with pure malice. I know you've been reborn, so have I. Ji Yaoting closed in on me step by step, his hand gesturing towards my abdomen. It brought back the memory from my past life, the image of him kicking me in the stomach, blow after blow. Even though he knew I was pregnant, I had a strong urge to slap him right across the face, perhaps sensing my thoughts. Ji Yaoting didn't come any closer. Instead, he took 2 steps back, putting distance between us. In this world, there are 2 things that inevitably cause harm, if not to oneself, then to others. Besides love, there is hate. In my past life, his so-called affection was nothing but a blade, relentlessly stabbing into me. In this life, all I feel for him is hatred, a deep, enduring hatred. I won't rest until he's destroyed, I sneered coldly. Let's see if young Master Ji, with his different choices in this second chance, will actually get what he wants. Ji Yaoting's brow furrowed slightly as he looked at me, a look of utter bewilderment on his face. Do you really think becoming best friends with Jiang Luo in this lifetime will change the outcome? You ruined her life so thoroughly in her past life. Even though she didn't get to be reborn with us, I did. I'll make sure she knows exactly what kind of person you are. Ji Yaoting issued his warning. I looked at him impassively. Rebirth. Only a fool would believe a word he says. Go ahead, try it. I tilted my chin up, seeing that his warning had no effect on me. Ji Yaoting started shouting Jiang Luo's name towards my villa. Jiang Luo was standing right by the clear bay window, Upon hearing Ji Yaoting call her name, she yanked the curtains shut. I glanced back at Ji Yaoting and couldn't help but snort with laughter. Ji Yaoting's face, predictably, darkened. He clenched his jaw, and I could hear the knuckles of his hands, stuffed in his trouser pockets, crack. That cracking sound from his knuckles means he's furious. He'll actually hit someone in my past life. He was my husband, so his beatings could only be classified as domestic violence in this life. He's just a stranger to me. Let's see what he can possibly do to me now. A security guard stood not far away, holding a baton, his gaze fixed on Ji Yaoting as if he were some kind of terrorist. After all, the residents here are all from relatively well-off families. People's manners have generally improved these days. They don't shout in public. Someone like him was bound to attract unwanted attention. Realizing the security guard was watching him, Ji Yaoting wiped the hint of ferocity from his face and curved his lips into a smile. Putting on an act was his specialty. Still not planning to leave? I asked, my voice icy yet. Ji Yaoting stepped right into my home. My mom and your dad were desk mates back in the day. With all those years of friendship, surely her son can come over for a meal at an old classmate's house, right? He was counting on Jiang Luo showing up at the dinner table, leaving her with nowhere to hide. He really had it all figured out. Right after he stepped into my house, my dad showed up. When he saw Ji Yaoting, my dad gave a polite smile. Then he immediately glanced back at me with a look in his eyes that screamed shipping them. I instantly felt a wave of disgust. Disgusted by Ji Yaoting's behavior, I quickly stepped forward and whispered in my dad's ear, Dad, I don't like him, and he's trying to force his way into our house. If the guy I actually like finds out, how am I supposed to explain this? Upon hearing this, my dad promptly wiped the look of nosy curiosity off his face. Yaoting, we're having a family dinner tonight, so it's not really a good time for guests. If you're short on cash for a restaurant, I can give you 500 yuan. That should be enough for a decent meal somewhere else. My dad said this while starting to pull out his wallet. Ji Yaoting's face turned as sour as if he'd just eaten something disgusting. I whispered it right into my dad's ear, but I spoke just loud enough for him to hear it too. Whether it was my words or my dad's that angered him, a vein throbbed visibly on his temple. He walked up to me and said in a voice meant only for the two of us, Meng Ning, you're really something else. What do you expect? We're not exactly close, I said with a wry smile. Ji Yaoting shot me an angry glare. Don't think I don't know you're just afraid I'll end up with Jiang Luo. I'll make sure she sees you for who you really are. Besides, I already saw your true colors in my past life. In this life, I will never fall for you. Me, huh? Wait, does he think I still have feelings for him? I rubbed my ear. It was dirty. 7. After Ji Yaoting left, my best friend sent me a screenshot. It was a WeChat ID belonging to Ji Yaochen. I was just about to add him when I suddenly got a friend request notification. Ji Yaochen had added me first. Hey, I heard you were looking for my contact info, so I hope you don't mind me adding you. Sorry. If this is a bit forward, would you be my date for the university welcome ball next week? I quickly texted back yes. That was exactly why I added him in the first place. I didn't expect him to bring it up himself. My plan is working perfectly. That night, I snapped a few selfies and posted them. On the surface, I was thanking my mom for the new necklace she bought me, but the real focus was the fair skin, the alluring collarbone, the whole captivating look. The most important thing is that it's visible only to Ji Yaochen. He liked it, but then instantly unliked it. I deliberately sent the photo to his chat window. Which one do you think looks better on me for the welcome dance? Ji Yaochen, I think they both look great, but if I had to choose, I'd go with this butterfly one. It's very gentle. Me, that's the one. Then, I snapped a few more photos and sent them to him, adding that I thought it was the best looking one too. Then I turned off my phone and went to sleep. The next day, I received several messages from Ji Yaochen. Ji Yaochen, yes, it's beautiful. Ji Yaochen, it looks absolutely stunning on you. Ji Yaochen, hey, are you asleep yet? Ji Yaochen, good night. Each message was sent about 10 minutes apart. A slight smile touched my lips as I read the message. Someone must have had a very restless night. 8. Ji Yaochen and Ji Yaoting attend the same university. Although our family isn't extremely wealthy, all the children are expected to study business. Ji Yaochen is from the family that owns the company, while Ji Yaoting is there to compete with him for the inheritance. I've met Ji Yaochen. He has a fair and clean complexion, with a teardrop mole at the outer corner of his left eye, while his overall demeanor carries a certain coolness. That mole lends him a more refined, scholarly air. We've crossed paths quite a few times, so I'm familiar to him. At the welcome ball, he walked over to me. I pointed to the necklace around my neck and said, you have excellent taste. His gaze flickered to my V-neck slip dress, and his ears instantly flushed red. We had a wonderful conversation, and he was so elegant and gentlemanly in the way he looked after my feelings. The wind picked up in the evening, and he brought out a coat he had prepared in advance. My mom said girls always want to look pretty and are bound to forget to bring a coat, so she insisted I take one. I thought she made a good point, so I brought it along, he told me with that one remark. Ji Yachin conveyed two things: he was pleased with me, and so was his mother. I took Ji Yachin's coat, stood on my tiptoes, and kissed the corner of his mouth. Out of the corner of my eye, I caught sight of someone. Ji Yating watched me and Ji Yachin, his gaze icy. He showed no hesitation. Instead, he walked towards us, gave me a once-over, his eyes filled with contempt. At her 18th birthday party not long ago, her father even tried to set me up with her, Ji Yating said to Ji Yachin. Ji Yachin's brow furrowed slightly. I crossed my arms and glared at him. So what? I'm not interested in you. Ji Yating instantly deflated like a punctured balloon, all his previous bravado gone, but it lasted only a few seconds before his smile returned. Meng Ning, do you really think this would get my attention? Not a chance. With that, he turned and walked away. Ji Yachin's frown deepened. I was about to explain myself to him when he quickly smiled at me and said, Sis, I believe you. He's talking nonsense. Why do you trust me so much? Because he's been chasing after Jiang Luo, the girl from the neighboring high school who failed her college entrance exam. You're good friends with Jiang Luo, so he wants to use you to get her attention, Ji Yachin explained. I quickly nodded in agreement. You're absolutely right. I never expected Ji Yachin to be so easy to appease. 9 Ji Yachin, and I made it official. However, I didn't post about it on social media. I figured I'd wait a bit longer to avoid giving my parents a shock. After school was out, Jiang Luo still hadn't left the building. Curious, I stopped a classmate to ask. They told me in shock that Ji Yating from the university next door had gone to find her, taken her somewhere, and said you were a liar who had deceived her. That's all we know. I followed the direction my classmate pointed to find Jiang Luo. At that moment, Ji Yating had Jiang Luo pinned against the wall, looking down at her. She's here, Ji Yating said, glancing over at me. If you're with me, I can give you anything you want. She's only being nice to you to keep us apart. Jiang Luo turned her head to look at me. Meng Ning, Jiang Luo knows the truth now. She won't be fooled by you anymore. Ji Yating let out a derisive snort as he looked at me, his face wearing a triumphant expression as if he had just won a great victory. I was about to explain when Jiang Luo pushed Ji Yating aside and walked towards me. Are you telling me Meng Ning was nice to me just to keep me away from you? Jiang Luo turned her head and retorted to Ji Yating. Ji Yating gave a firm nod. Jiang Luo couldn't help but let out a snort of laughter. Sorry, but I don't believe it. And even if she doesn't want us to be together, it's only because she doesn't want you to disturb my studies. She would never act out of pure selfishness. With that, she took my hand and we left together. My family's car had been waiting at the entrance for quite some time. After getting in the car, I asked her, why don't you believe what Ji Yating said? Because whether I'm with him or not, it doesn't benefit or harm you in any way. There's no need for you to go to such lengths to be kind to me, fund my education, or befriend me, right? You have cheaper and more direct methods, Jiang Luo said, taking my hand. I smiled faintly. I knew she wouldn't be easily swayed by Ji Yating's words. We returned home together that evening. I received a text from Ji Yating. In this lifetime, we never even exchanged contact information, yet I would recognize that phone number across 1,000 lifetimes. 10 I know you did it on purpose. You're trying to drive a wedge between Jiang Luo and me, but I will be with her. Meng Ning, you will never be able to stop us in this life. I think he's a lost cause. I wasn't trying to stop them. I just wanted Jiang Luo to become her best self, to avoid the tragedy of her past life and to steer clear of that scumbag. I figured engaging with him would only encourage him, so I chose to block him. I never want to see this number again. I didn't reply to his message, and the next day I saw him at school. He was holding a huge bouquet of roses, a vibrant red so eye-catching that every student who saw it couldn't help but stop and stare. That's our junior year senior, the famous heartthrob of our school, carrying such a massive bouquet of red roses. He must be going to confess to some girl, right? Haven't you heard? Ji Yating has been pursuing a girl from the neighboring high school who failed her college entrance exams. I'm so jealous that a guy as handsome and academically brilliant as Ji Yating likes her. Everyone watched Ji Yating, buzzing with gossip. His face wore an expression of utter confidence and swagger, as if he were about to embark on some grand, heroic mission. Seeing him act like that made my brows furrow so tightly they practically knotted themselves. Jiang Luo didn't do well on her last exam. If he disturbs her studies like this, and she fails the college entrance exam again, what then? Seeing my displeased expression, Ji Yating couldn't resist a scornful jab. Can't keep up the act anymore. Meng Ning, I'm just waiting to see how long you can keep this charade going. Ji Yaoting gently kissed the red rose he held in his hand. His actions, however, left me feeling utterly disgusted. Jiang Luo isn't interested in you. Stop pestering her, you're disrupting her studies. Ji Yaoting raised an eyebrow. If I'm not going to bother her, then who should I bother? You, Meng Ning, you're dreaming. There's no way I'll ever be with you, no matter what tricks you try to provoke me. It's impossible. He's so tedious. At that moment, Ji Yaochen walked over to us and reached out to interlace his fingers with mine. Ji Yaoting stared at our tightly clasped hands, his brow furrowing involuntarily. A flash of irritation crossed his face, followed by a scornful snort. You got together with someone else just to provoke me, Ji Yaoting sneered. Meng Ning, you really do have a lot of tricks up your sleeve. I had wanted to say something more, but his reaction made me feel that the more I spoke, the more convinced he would be that I was deliberately trying to provoke him. It backfired. I took Ji Yachen's hand in mine and chuckled. Don't listen to his nonsense. I couldn't care less about a clown's opinion, Ji Yachen retorted, tilting his chin up in a subtle challenge directed at Ji Yaoting. A flicker of impatience crossed Ji Yaoting's face. He simply continued to hold the bouquet of red roses. His demeanor as defiant as ever. He left with a red rose in hand, heading towards the high school next door. A shadow fell over my eyes. Ji Yachen said to me, "Don't worry, your friend definitely won't be fooled by him." I nodded, but I still wasn't at ease, so I followed her and, through Jiang Luo's roommate, let her know, after school, she had to take a different route to leave the campus. Thankfully, the high school had several gates. Ji Yating's confession today didn't exactly succeed. We breathed a sigh of relief, but we didn't let our guard down completely. If he fails the first time, he'll definitely come back for a second try. After some thought, Jiang Luo took the initiative to tell the principal about Ji Yating's harassment. Upon hearing this, the principal took Ji Yating away and called his parents. The second time I ever met his mother was at school. 11. When Ji Yating's mother heard about his relentless pursuit of Jiang Luo, she was livid. Without a word, she slapped him across the face. "Mom, why did you hit me? We're both adults." Sure, Jiang Luo is in high school right now, but she's repeating a year. If she hadn't failed the college entrance exam, she'd be in university already. Ji Yaoting yelled at his mother. I watched quietly as his mother slapped him once more. Ji Yaoting drew a sharp breath. Fine, I won't disturb her studies for now. I can wait until she graduates. Smack, another slap. Ji Yaoting was stunned, rooted to the spot. To this day, he still doesn't know why his mother hit him. Ji Yating's mother looked at me with deep apology and said with a smile, "Dear, don't listen to Yating's nonsense. In my heart, you are the only daughter-in-law for me. How could a scholarship student like her ever be worthy of Yating? You are the most outstanding one." I quickly shook my head. "Auntie, please don't say that. Feelings can't be forced. Neither of us has any romantic interest in the other. By the way, let me introduce you. This is my sworn sister, Jiang Luo." I pointed at Jiang Luo. Ji Yating's mother immediately looked extremely awkward. She probably never expected that Jiang Luo had become an adopted daughter of our family, especially after she had just been putting her down. My dad and I left with Jiang Luo, leaving Ji Yaoting and his mother standing there awkwardly. On the way back, Jiang Luo seemed a bit down. I quickly reassured her. "Don't listen to their nonsense, you're the best." Jiang Luo gave me a gentle smile and a nod. "Don't worry, I'm not letting it get to me. I just can't help but wonder what I did to make someone like that think I was interested or that there could ever be something between us. I honestly can't figure out what gave him that idea." I patted her shoulder and said with a laugh, "Sometimes, it's not about you, it's Ji Yating's fault. He's just too full of himself." After that incident, Ji Yating toned it down a lot. He stopped going to Jiang Luo's school to find her, but instead would pester her after she got out of class. Even so, it was still a major headache. When my dad found out, he took the initiative to contact Ji Yating's mother and told her to keep a better handle on her son. Ji Yating's mother was furious with him. He got another beating from her, and she dragged him, badly bruised, in front of Jiang Luo to make him apologize. Ji Yating looked at Jiang Luo, stepped closer, and gazed at her with deep emotion. "Do you really have to be like this? Don't you care about me at all?" Jiang Luo looked utterly exasperated. "I don't understand why you're saying this to me. Did I do something to give you the wrong idea?" Ji Yating's brows furrowed tightly. "How can you say that? Weren't you supposed to come confess to me the night of Meng Ning's coming-of-age party? I waited for you outside the school for ages, but you never showed up. And hey, don't you remember how you used to come watch me play basketball all the time? I admit I noticed you back then, but because you were a scholarship student, I was really put off by your affection. If I hadn't known how intense your feelings were, and that just by accepting your pursuit I could change your future, I wouldn't have acted that way." Jiang Luo, I really do like you, it's just a shame that such a heartfelt confession only earned him Jiang Luo's bewilderment. I'm sorry, I don't know why you'd think that. But I'm sure it's because I went with my deskmate to your university to watch you play basketball that time. It must have given you the wrong idea. I don't like you at all. The one who likes you is my deskmate. What you said about me confessing to you at Ningning's coming-of-age ceremony is completely untrue. I don't have feelings for you, let alone any intention to confess. The person who wants to confess to you is my deskmate, Jiang Luo explained to him. Ji Yaoting stood there frozen, a look of utter shock on his face. You're lying to me, aren't you? Meng Ning put you up to this, didn't she? Ji Yaoting pointed a finger at me, his eyes filled with venomous hatred. Jiang Luo shook her head, sorry, but Ningning and I weren't even close back then, meaning, there's no way I could have taught her. Ji Yaoting stared at her, his pupils trembling with shock. It was as if he were trying to stare straight through her skin and into her very soul. So it was all just me reading too much into things, Ji Yaoting retorted. Jiang Luo sighed in confirmation. Ji Yaoting's gaze shifted back to me. But this time it wasn't filled with the same hatred as before. Instead, there was a hint of confusion and a touch of remorse. Remorse? Impossible, I must have seen wrong. I turned to his mother and said, Auntie, now that the misunderstanding has been cleared up, I hope your son won't disturb Jiang Luo's studies anymore. She's in her final year of high school, a crucial time for her to focus. She's faced setbacks before, and this time she needs to give it her all, Ji Yaoting's mother assured me. He then ordered the people he brought with him to drag Ji Yaoting into the car. Ji Yaoting's mother didn't leave immediately. Instead, she took my hand and spoke to me with great earnestness. My dear, you heard what Yaoting said. It was all a misunderstanding. There's nothing between them. I still believe things can work out between you and Yaoting. I quickly cut her off. Auntie, I'm sorry, but I'm already in a relationship. So soon? Ji Yaoting's mother was utterly taken aback. I nodded firmly, deliberately showing a hint of shyness. When you meet someone you like, you have to strike first. But Auntie thinks you and Yaoting are the perfect match. Your father and I were classmates, so we know each other's families inside out. If Yaoting ever bullies you, I'll definitely be on your side. Yaoting's mother tried to persuade me further. I cast a pleading look at my parents. They understood and immediately stepped forward, speaking to Yaoting's mother while guiding her out. When they came back, my parents' faces were full of speechless exasperation. Ji Yaoting has already done something this extreme, and she still thinks there's a chance between him and Ningning. She really thinks her son is made of solid gold. Exactly, this whole thing is still up in the air, and she's already being so dismissive. If it actually happened, who knows how badly they'd bully our Ningning. Luoluo's background might be a bit humble, but look at her tone. She's completely forgotten that Luoluo is part of our main family now. Hearing my parents' complaints, Jiang Luo and I exchanged a look and burst out laughing. 12. Seeing his mother emerge from the main residence, Ji Yaoting immediately became fully alert. Mom, the misunderstanding is cleared up. Did Meng Ning say anything to you? Ji Yaoting asked. Mrs. Ji shot him a look of utter exasperation. Meng Ning did say a few things to me. Hearing this, Ji Yaoting breathed a sigh of relief. I knew she still had feelings for me. There's no way she could just let me go like that. Mrs. Ji looked at him, utterly bewildered. What nonsense are you talking? You've only met Meng Ning a handful of times. Why on earth would she like you? Besides, she added, Meng Ning told me herself that she already has someone she likes. Ji Yaoting shook his head. That can't be true. She only said that to get a rise out of me. After he cleared up the misunderstanding with Jiang Luo, Meng Ning's intention in saying such things to Ji's mother was crystal clear. She simply wanted to show she was jealous and needed his comfort. Ji Yaoting recalled what he had done to Meng Ning in his past life, and a pang of remorse washed over him. Thankfully, all that was in a past life. In this life, her family's company and her parents were all still here. His misunderstanding with Jiang Luo had also been resolved. Everything was still salvageable. All he needed to do was be with Meng Ning, get engaged, and then married. With that thought, Ji Yaoting felt a sudden clarity. 13. Worried that Ji Yaoting's constant interruptions were affecting Jiang Luo's studies, our whole family discussed and decided to hire a tutor for her. Deeply moved by this, Jiang Luo immediately vowed that she would succeed this time. My parents said, grades aren't everything, you can shine in other areas too. They were worried she was under too much pressure. Jiang Luo nodded. Yeah, I know, but I still want to give it my best shot. She looked at me, her face full of gratitude. Ningning, you're the best girl in the world. If it weren't for you, I'd be out working a job right now. Jiang Luo said to me. It's because you're genuinely outstanding that you caught my eye. I smiled faintly. then immediately told my parents about Ji Yaochen and me. He's my boyfriend now. My mom and dad were both utterly stunned. Ji Yaochen, isn't he Ji Yaoting's half-brother? You're dating him. My dad's astonishment was written all over his face. My mom quickly shot him a look. We've met that boy Ji Yaochen a few times. He's a very sensible and well-mannered young man. Ningning, being with him is far better than being with Ji Yaoting. My mom smiled at me again and said, I'm really quite pleased with Yaochen. My dad quickly explained, it's not that I'm unhappy with Ji Yaochen, it's just that Ji Yaoting is the son of my old classmate. Now that Ningning is with Yaochen, I feel a bit awkward about how to face my old friend. What's there to feel awkward about? Matters of the heart aren't something you can just decide on a whim. Fate is in the stars. If Ningning and Yaoting weren't meant to be, whose fault is that? And besides, have you completely forgotten the foolish things Yaoting did before? As she spoke, my mom felt I had been terribly wronged and quickly reached over to pat the back of my hand. Luo, Auntie isn't blaming you, dear, it's just that this Ji Yaoting is truly no good. He has no sense of propriety and acts recklessly, whether it's Ningning or you. Luo, that Ji Yaoting isn't worthy of either of you, my mother said. To Jiang Luo, my father quickly chimed in, your mother is right, Yaochen is indeed a fine young man. Ningning, when will you bring Yaochen home for a visit? I nodded. The next day, I went to wait for him downstairs at Ji Yaochen's dormitory. I was holding a small cake I had made myself. Just as I was about to send a message to Ji Yaochen, a familiar figure approached me, my brow furrowed tightly. Ji Yaoting glanced at the small cake in my hand and chuckled softly. For me, it looks lovely. You really went to a lot of trouble. Me, I think he's got a screw loose. I scoffed. Do you think you're worthy? Don't flatter yourself. If it's not for me, then who else is it for? Although Ji Yaoting phrased it as a question, his tone was full of certainty, acting like they're God's gift to the world. Does he have any idea how utterly unappealing he looks right now? It's actually making me feel sick. Sorry, this cake is for my boyfriend, Ji Yaochen, I said, sending a message to Ji Yaochen. Ji Yaoting sneered. Meng Ning, you say you don't like me, yet the boyfriend you found has a name so similar to mine. Me, I almost forgot. In our past life, Ji Yaoting's mother only told him about the grudge between her and his father after he married me, when she thought his position to fight Ji Yaochen for the family fortune was secure. As for Ji Yaochen, Ji Yaoting was so arrogant and conceited. With my help, we drove him out of the country effortlessly. It's no wonder he couldn't even remember his name. I rolled my eyes at him with a look that said he was hopeless. Just then, Ji Yaochen arrived. Seeing me, he quickly reached out and took the small cake I was holding. How did you know I wanted to try the cake you made yourself? As he said this, Ji Yaochen opened the box and picked up a spoon, clearly intending to take a bite. That cake was made for me by Ningning. Don't be so presumptuous. Hand it over now. Ji Yaoting stretched out his hand towards Ji Yaochen, who had just taken the cake. Not only did Ji Yaochen not give him the cake, he even proceeded to take a huge bite out of it. Ningning, he ate the cake you made for me with your own hands, Ji Yaoting said to me, a hint of urgency in his voice, his eyes gleaming with a touch of schadenfreude. It was as if I was about to slap Ji Yaochen across the face any second, but instead, I reached out and wiped the cream from the corner of Ji Yaochen's mouth, right in front of him. Let's find a place to sit down and enjoy it properly, I said to him. He gave a faint smile and led me to find a place to sit. Ji Yaoting was ignored by us as if he were air. He watched us walk away, an expression of disbelief on his face, as if I shouldn't have treated him that way. I told Ji Yaochen that my parents wanted to meet him. After hearing that, he started picking out gifts for them. He asked about the likes and dislikes of everyone in my family. I could sense his nervousness. Don't worry, my parents are very easy to get along with, I said. Ji Yaochen nodded. After my last class of the afternoon, I was heading home. When Ji Yaoting was waiting for me right outside the classroom door, the moment I stepped out, he quickly pinned me against the wall, drawing a crowd of onlookers. Ningning, I heard you're planning to take Ji Yaochen home to meet your parents. Do you think this little game is amusing? Isn't this all just to get my attention? Well, you have it, and I already know why you started calling Jiang Luo your sister. Wasn't it just to make me see the truth, stop pursuing her, and clear up the misunderstanding between us? The misunderstanding between us is cleared up now. I don't have feelings for her anymore. You can break up with Ji Yaochen, do it now, and I'll be with you right away. I don't mind that you dated him, because I know perfectly well he was just a tool you used to get a reaction out of me. I raised my hand and slapped him. You're so full of yourself. I cleared up the misunderstanding between you and Jiang Luo just so you wouldn't misinterpret her intentions and end up hurting her. I have absolutely no interest in you. I pushed him away. With so many classmates watching, a few of my roommates stepped forward and shielded me. I rarely stayed in the dorm, but I got along very well with them. You don't like me, yet you meddle in my business with Jiang Luo. You don't like me, yet you use Ji Yaochen to deliberately provoke me. Ji Yaoting's face was full of disbelief. What else could it be? Love. I shot back. You have your life, and I have mine. Stay away from me. Thanks. Ji Yaoting curled his lip. I don't believe a word you're saying. You're just trying to get a rise out of me. With that, he forcibly pulled me away from my roommate's grasp. He didn't let go until he had dragged me to a deserted spot. My wrist was frighteningly red and swollen. His strength was overwhelming. I couldn't break free at all. The sight of his bloodshot eyes reminded me of how he used to beat me in our past life. And it frightened me. Meng Ning, it's just the two of us now. You can speak freely without holding back. Let's have a proper, honest talk. I know you're jealous because of what I did in our past life. It was wrong of me to blame you for it. Just because I later met Jiang Luo and heard how miserably her life turned out, I thought she liked me. It was your appearance that swayed my feelings for her, ultimately leading to her later tragedy. I admit I did have a crush on her before I got together with you. She was the good girl type. What guy wouldn't like that? Now that we've cleared up the misunderstanding, I know she never liked me in the first place. Everything that happened to her in her past life was her own damn fault. Let's just bury the hatchet. Ji Yaoting looked at me with an excited expression. I don't understand why he thinks we can just bury the hatchet. Is it simply because we're both dead, we've restarted, and the tragedy will just repeat? That all that suffering is considered over and done with? What a shame. I'm the type who holds a grudge. There's no settling the score between him and me. Ji Yaoting, someone like you is destined to end up with nothing. I stared at him coldly. Ji Yaoting stared at me intently, as if trying to see right through my heart. He raised his hand and pinched my chin. I don't believe you've stopped liking me so easily. You loved me so deeply in your past life. He seemed intent on kissing me. My stomach churned with disgust when suddenly, Ji Yaoting's face was struck with a heavy blow. Ji Yaochen steadied me with a firm hold. Ji Yaochen, if you dare bother Ningning again, a fist won't be the worst of it next time. Ji Yaochen warned Ji Yaoting. Ji Yaoting cracked his knuckles and lunged at Ji Yaochen, who pulled me behind him. The two of them started brawling, and I decided to call the police. That one phone call meant Ji Yaoting's mother and Ji Yachen's parents all found out about the tangled web of love and hate between us. 14. Ji Yachen's father glanced at Ji Yaoting, then turned away and smiled at me, saying, I'm sorry you had to go through that. I, your uncle, will make sure justice is served in this matter. In my past life, after I got together with Ji Yaoting, he gained leverage to contest the family inheritance against Ji Yaochen. With my silver tongue, I had their father wrapped around my finger. Eventually, Ji Yaochen was sent abroad, left with only a struggling overseas subsidiary, while the rest of the Ji family fortune went entirely to Ji Yaoting. Thinking of this, I reached out and took Ji Yachen's hand, showing him great concern. Uncle Ji couldn't help but give us a second look when she found out that Ji Yaochen and I were together. Ji Yaoting's mother was furious and gave him a severe scolding. According to my dad, Ji Yaoting's mother went to Uncle Ji in tears and managed to secure an overseas subsidiary company for him. She's planning to take Ji Yaoting abroad. Hearing that, I breathed a sigh of relief. Once Ji Yaoting leaves, his father will surely use ruthless measures to ensure he never comes back. I asked my dad when they were leaving, counting down the days until they were gone. However, instead of news of Ji Yaoting's departure, what I received was the news that he had kidnapped Jiang Luo the day before he was supposed to leave. Ji Yaoting sent me a text. What happened in our past life was my fault. I think Jiang Luo was behind it all, and I'll take care of her. Ningning, how about we go abroad together tomorrow? If you agree, come find me at this address. Reading the text message made my vision go dark. Ji Yaoting has lost his mind. I chose to call the police, pretending to go meet Ji Yaoting alone. I went to the address he gave, while in reality, the police had already surrounded the place. Seeing me, Ji Yaoting breathed a sigh of relief. Ningning, you're finally here. Come abroad with me. We'll be together, far away from everything. We can start our lives over, he said, his face alight with excitement. Where's Jiang Luo? Let her go. I can't be bothered to talk to him any longer. Jiang Luo ruined both of us. Why do you care about her? It'd be best if she were dead. She's the one who cost us everything. I feel like slapping him, but I still don't know where Jiang Luo is. He's a madman. Who knows what a madman will do when he loses it? I agree to go abroad with you, but you must not harm anyone else. Even if you don't care about us, you have to think about our child, don't you? What if our child wants to take the civil service exam in the future? I asked. Ji Yaoting seemed to be placated by my words. He pointed happily to the top floor of the abandoned building and said, she's up there. I was planning to push her off and make it look like an accident, but since you put it that way, I'll let her go. It's for our child's karma. I breathed a sigh of relief. Ji Yaoting's mother emerged from the shadows. "I'll take you to find Jiang Luo." I nodded and followed her. Jiang Luo was indeed on the top floor, bound and gagged. Her face streaked with terrified tears. I quickly untied her, and we headed downstairs together. "Meng Ning, break up with Ji Yaochen and be with Yaoting instead." The voice of Ji Yaoting's mother came from behind us. I shook my head. "That's impossible, Auntie. I don't have feelings for Ji Yaoting." "What a shame," sighed Ji Yaoting's mother. I turned to look at her. She was standing behind me, one step higher on the stairs. A chill instantly ran down my spine. She reached her hand out toward me, and Jiang Luo quickly stepped in front of me. "One of you made my son despised by his own father, and the other got him charged with kidnapping. None of you will get away with this." Her hand pushed toward us. 15. Ji Yaoting was walking upstairs expectantly. When he saw us tumbling down together, he quickly reached out to block our fall. His mother shouted, "Yaoting, get out of the way. They deserve this." Jiang Luo and I rolled down together, and Ji Yaoting decisively stepped aside. Gritting my teeth and enduring the excruciating pain, I raised my hand and grabbed him, pulling him down the stairs with us. "Ji Yaoting, the pain of being pushed down the stairs while carrying your child was 1,000 times worse than this," I said. Ji Yaoting tried to struggle for a moment longer, but upon hearing my words, he decisively gave up. Just as I was about to hit the ground, wondering if life would give me a second chance, I crashed into someone's arms. Ji Yaochen used her own body to shield Jiang Luo and me, which is why we didn't suffer more serious injuries. Ji Yaoting was different. He slammed violently into a nearby post, and a nail drove straight into his skull. His mother was overcome with regret, clutching her son and wailing. Just as a group of police officers rushed in and surrounded everyone, the ambulance had been waiting outside for a long time. Paramedics came in with a stretcher and took us all away. Ji Yaoting's mother cried out in anguish and remorse, screaming that Jiang Luo and I were the ones who had ruined her son. I closed my eyes. It wasn't us. It was her. After Uncle Ji learned the whole story, he took back the overseas subsidiary. He also hired the best lawyer for US. "Don't worry, my father has made it clear that this matter will be pursued to the fullest extent. Ji Yaoting and his mother must face the most severe punishment." However, Ji Yaoting was struck in the head by a nail. He's now bedridden, completely immobile, and is essentially in a vegetative state. He keeps murmuring your name, saying he's sorry to you and the child. Ji Yaochen said to me if he'd said anything else, I wouldn't have bothered to see him, but mentioning that, now I really want to see just how pathetic he's become. Ji Yaoting lay in the hospital bed, his body tangled with a web of tubes and wires. Tears streamed down his face as he mumbled incoherently, "Ning Ning, I'm so sorry. It's my fault you and our child are gone. Didn't I get a second chance? Why am I back here again? Ning Ning, please don't die. I know the whole truth now. If you just come back to life, we can go back to the way things were." Ji Yaoting kept muttering to himself. No one understood what was happening. They all just thought he was dreaming. Jiang Luo and I weren't seriously hurt either. We both just had minor scrapes. After being kept in the hospital for observation for a while and with no other issues arising, we were both discharged. Ji Yaoting lies in the hospital bed. Barring any unforeseen circumstances, he'll be dependent on those tubes for the rest of his life. However, from what Uncle Ji said, he has no intention of supporting him indefinitely. If he doesn't wake up and repent for his sins, they'll pull the plug on him. Ji Yaoting's mother was sentenced for the crime of intentional assault. We returned to the campus together. The following year, Jiang Luo finally got into university as the top scorer in the liberal arts stream of the college entrance exam. Ji Yaochen and I held our engagement ceremony. I heard that on the day of our engagement ceremony, Ji Yaoting woke up. After seeing the news of my engagement to Ji Yaochen, he pulled out his own tubes. He didn't die. Instead, he remained in his hospital bed as before, drifting in and out of lucidity, constantly apologizing to me. He picked up a dirty doll and claimed it was our child. They say he was mad. The end. Story 2. I pretended to be Song Mo's little sister for 4 years, right up until his wedding day. He was still sneaking kisses from me in the dressing room, hiding it from his family. He coaxed me, saying, "Mian Mian." This is where it ends for us. Just as he wished, I didn't make a scene at the wedding. I turned around, went back to Jingbei, and accepted my family's arrangements. He thought I would always be that sweet, obedient little sister by his side, unable to leave him. Song Mo got married today, but no one knows that last night, drunk, he barged into my bedroom and kissed me fiercely. Mian Mian, let's end it here. His eyes, flushed with passion, finally broke the lingering kiss. That aloof, noble composure of his had finally crumbled for me. "You promised, brother. You said you'd always be by Mian Mian's side, too." I've liked Song Mo since the very first day I stepped into the Song family home. I was a child they took in, and he was my brother in name only. I always knew this, so I never overstepped. That all changed on my coming-of-age ceremony. The day he brought the Su family's daughter home, he even said to me, "Mian Mian, this is your sister-in-law." Only then did I realize he had known. All along, all the feelings I had so carefully hidden all these years. I was terrified, humiliated, and filled with resentment. Finally, after repeated bouts of agony and torment, my emotions spiraled out of control. After dinner, I cornered him in the study downstairs. The elders were chatting with Suiha upstairs. His immaculately pressed shirt was soaked with my tears. "Please don't be with her. And don't be my brother either." My shattered reflection was perfectly clear in his eyes, yet he remained unmoved, his voice icy cold. "Song Mian, I am your brother, even without a blood tie. I will always be your brother." He was so resolute back then, yet now, 3 years have passed. Ambiguity is like a poison that takes root and sprouts. A single taste is enough to set off an uncontrollable chain reaction. This is true for him, and for me as well. The only thing I learned was how to savor this withdrawal. 3. The wedding was magnificent. He built the castle for her with his own hands. He treated her like a princess, showering her with boundless affection. He recited the vows to her with devout sincerity. They shared a passionate kiss beneath the veil. Everyone offered their blessings. No one knows how those same lips that kissed the bride had stormed over mine with such ferocity beneath the cover of night. I sat quietly in my seat, feeling neither joy nor sorrow, until all the ceremonies had concluded. "Congratulations on your wedding, sister-in-law, brother." I tightened my grip on the wine glass and raised a toast to the celebrated couple. The center of everyone's attention. Song Mo's eyes darkened, and the inscrutable emotion hidden within them seemed to be something only I could understand. A day like this should be a joyous occasion for all. I had originally thought that his aloof, untouchable demeanor meant he would never bow to any woman, but I was wrong. While telling me, "Mian Mian, just wait a little longer," he would also, in places I couldn't see, smile generously at another woman. He would gently stroke her hair, just as he once did for me. He would carry her upstairs after she sprained her ankle playing tennis. He would come to the school to pick her up and take her home during a heavy downpour. He did to her everything he had ever done to me. How can a person's heart be in two places at once? But he said there wouldn't be a marriage alliance. He said it was all just for show. "Thank you, Sister Songmian." Suiha accepted my toast. She gave a gentle smile, looking utterly demure, just like I was at 18. But soon, her drink was quietly taken over by Song Mo. I lowered my gaze, hiding the lacerated wounds in my heart. Brother is so protective of his wife. It's not like I would bully her. Suiha's eyes curved into a smile. "You're graduating this year, right? You're so pretty. Do you have a boyfriend?" "Yes, sister-in-law. We've been together for 3 years." I answered truthfully, only to look up and meet Song Mo's momentarily icy gaze. "Afraid I'll expose you and my 3-year-long secret relationship that couldn't see the light of day." "Song Mo, why do you have that look on your face? You kept me in the dark, only telling me you agreed to the arranged marriage with the Su family after it was already a done deal, and then you still expect me to consider the bigger picture, to not ruin her wedding, to not harm the Song family's interests or her reputation in your eyes. Am I not supposed to mind even if you choose a marriage of alliance? Should I still adore you to the point of self-abasement in your eyes? Perhaps you're just like the Song family elders, thinking I'm not presentable, not even worthy of being considered an adopted daughter. For I drank a lot of alcohol. I thought that people are like wine. In the end, they burn like a flame. Even when you know you should quit, you can't help but get drawn in. So you were just humoring me like a child." I was the only one who was unhappy with the situation from start to finish. "I'm not feeling well, Jiang Sui." I dialed a number on the other end of the line. The voices of men and women were noisy and grating. He didn't say a word. "Sorry, that was forward of me." "Now you realize it was forward, huh?" The low, husky voice carried a hint of intoxication. I remained silent. In just a moment, silence returned over there. The sound of the lighter spinning came to an abrupt stop as it hit the glass. His breathing, after being suppressed, became short and rapid. "But what can I do, sis? I can't get away. I'm on the night shift. I'll request you, for real." He chuckled softly. "So, are you coming or not?" I asked, fighting off the dizziness. "I'm coming, wait for me. I'll be quick." 5. After throwing up in the restroom, I ran into Song Mo outside the hall. He was in his groom's attire, looking at me with a gaze as proper as an elder's. "You shouldn't drive after drinking. Someone is coming to pick me up." I walked right past him. A girl shouldn't stay out overnight when she's drunk. Don't make mom and dad worry. If he hadn't kissed me so fiercely that night, I might have actually believed that nonsense. "I'm an adult, brother. You don't need to worry about me." I deliberately stressed those 2 words. He frowned. "I told you, I'll always be your brother. That will never change." Do you have to speak to me like this? I stopped and turned to look at him coldly. Would a brother do that to his sister? I have no interest in playing your forbidden game anymore. Stay out of my business from now on. Are you really going to spite me and throw yourself away like this? Sung Mo's face darkened. I knew he was angry, so what? He was the one who said we should go our separate ways and end things. And now he's the one trying to control me. Mo. Just as Song Mo and I were locked in a tense standoff, Suiha emerged from the banquet hall. She paused for a moment when she saw me, but quickly regained her composure. You're still here, little sister. Let Mo see you home. It's not safe for you to go back alone this late. That's alright, sister-in-law. A friend is coming to pick me up. Must be a boyfriend, right? When will you bring him around for us to meet? I'll take you. Song Mo suddenly interjected. Suiha froze. No need, I'm not a child. You've all had a long day. Song Mo. Do you have any idea what you look like right now? Sis, I'll be heading off then. Okay, Suiha replied softly, before a wave of nausea hit her the next second. What's wrong? Are you feeling unwell? Song Mo's brow furrowed slightly. Suiha blushed with a shy smile. I might be pregnant. My period is late. As she spoke, she linked her arm with Song Mo's. Will you come with me to the hospital for a checkup tomorrow? I looked at Song Mo, a trace of inscrutable complexity hidden in the depths of his eyes. A moment later, he affectionately ruffled Suiha's hair. Alright, I'll go with you tomorrow. It's windy out here. You should head inside so you don't catch a chill. I'll just see Mian Mian out and be right back. She nodded obediently in agreement. No need, I'm not so drunk I can't walk. You should see your wife inside. Her health is what matters. With that, I turned and walked away. It's ridiculous, isn't it? All this time, I've been trying to keep the peace in this family. I'm afraid that one day I'll slip up and the elders will find out. I'm afraid of being called disgusting, but Song Mo, I was following the rules step by step. Yet you lured me deeper and deeper, forced me to take that first step, and in the end, heartlessly pushed me away. How can someone want it all? 6. When Jiang Sui found me, I was sitting drunk by the flower bed, having nearly picked all the flowers within half a meter. Bear, who's been picking on our little one? He crouched beside me, tilting his head to look at me, his tousled hair showing no sign of being flattened by a helmet. Working the late shift today, huh? I said wearily, my eyes tinged with red. He gave a slight nod, his eyes sparkling like stars in the night sky. Yeah, you see, I was in such a rush to get to you that I almost ran a red light. Oh, I see. Well, you can drive me then. Just leave your bike here for now. You'll have to come back for it later. Then we won't take it. He lowered his gaze and gently wiped my face with a tissue. It was the scent of jasmine. I like this smell. You didn't have a drink at the bar, did you? I leaned in closer to him and sniffed. A faint, almost imperceptible smile touched the corner of his mouth. Haven't had a drop. You want me to get arrested? Fine, I'll give you 500 to carry me. I can't walk anymore. I'm too drunk and sleepy. Then get on. He stood up and turned his back to me. I didn't hesitate. Just threw myself right onto him. Is it too heavy? I'll pay extra if it is. I mumbled, my head instinctively resting on his shoulder. It's not heavy at all, sis. His reply was soft, and my eyelids grew heavier and heavier. Ah, so well behaved. No wonder you're so popular. Why did you stop? A few minutes later, seeing him come to a halt, I asked groggily. He didn't say a word. I frowned slightly. We're here already. Carry me around a few more times. I'm afraid I'll get sick in the car. It's comfortable when you carry me. Okay. With my eyes closed and a tipsy smile, I couldn't help but pinch his cheek. So good. I'm always good for you, sis. It's not like you just met me. 7. The first time I saw Jiang Sui, he was working at a bubble tea shop in the university district. Because he was so good-looking, a lot of girls would specifically ask for him at first glance. He seemed quite sweet and well-behaved, if you ignored that mouth of his, which was a master at dishing out emotional validation. It's a shame, isn't it? Sometimes you know something is fake, but you just can't help but enjoy it. Later, I ran into him at the bar I frequent. He was working a side job there too. Are you that hard up for cash? I asked bluntly that day, leaning on the bar and chewing on my straw. Desperate, his lashes fluttered as he answered, shy to the core. I knew full well he wasn't some docile, obedient rabbit, but I just couldn't resist teasing him, so I said, I can get you a side gig, 20 grand a month, on call anytime. You in? He lowered his head, his voice a soft murmur by my ear. I'm in, but it has to stay between us, confidential. I couldn't help but laugh out loud. Is this how you're going to carry me to get some air? I opened my bleary, tipsy eyes. Before me were his flushed earlobes and the sharp line of his jaw. Kid, are you this accommodating to everyone? I asked. Back at the bar, he didn't answer. He just took away the sweet cocktail in front of me and replaced it with a vibrant glass of cranberry something. Try this, I just mixed it. So, like this, can I win your favor, sis? He stopped and set me down. The sound of the car unlocking chimed, and he bent down to open the door for me. I gazed at him, momentarily lost in thought. My phone suddenly began to vibrate. Incoming call from Song Mo. There were 2 missed calls before this. Would you like me to step out? The low voice carried a hint of lazy detachment. No need. I locked the screen and got straight into the car. Inside the car, my phone buzzed again, as if it wouldn't give up until I answered. Go ahead and take it. A few minutes won't make a difference. He rested his head on the steering wheel, looking at me sideways. Beneath that casual demeanor was an inscrutable emotion. I looked away, my eyes meeting his in the rearview mirror. You heard everything when he called earlier, didn't you? Yeah. The answer came without a hint of hesitation, a brazen admission that laid all his cards on the table. Jiang Sui, we're not that kind of relationship. With that, I put the call on speakerphone. Song Mo's cold, stern voice came through the line. Why didn't you answer? Where are you? I glanced at Jiang Sui and replied flatly. The parking lot. The phone was suddenly snatched away and tossed aside. The car windows were tightly shut, and the doors were locked. What kind of relationship is that? Jiang Sui's lips pressed into a faint, tight line. His ambiguous smile ignored my warning, barely containing an almost obsessive possessiveness. Even though he hadn't taken a single step forward, I felt an irresistible pull. It's like being under a spell. Mian Mian, who are you with? A friend, or? He ended the call the moment our eyes met, the audacity in his gaze only intensified. I leaned down, lowering my head to press a kiss to his lips. His deep brown eyes lost focus for an instant, his lashes fluttering faintly. The car let out a short, sharp beep the moment my arm accidentally brushed against the steering wheel. Mian Mian, Song Mo's voice drew near, the usually composed man now sounding uncharacteristically flustered. My hands were tightly interlaced with his, and I found myself pressed back into the seat. The roles suddenly reversed. Kisses began to fall, soft and insistent, one after another. I caught a glimpse of Song Mo in the rearview mirror. In that moment of distraction, Jiang Sui seized the back of my neck. The next second, my lips were brutally invaded. Breathless and flustered, I instinctively clutched the fabric of his shirt, desperate for a chance to catch my breath. Song Mo passed by the front of the car. The phone was still buzzing. I instinctively shrank further into Jiang Sui's arms. He chased after me, pressing his lips to mine again. Someone might see us. Before I could finish speaking, my palm was pinned to my side, and my breath was stolen once more. The commotion inside the car alerted those outside. Song Mo's gaze shifted toward the windshield. I froze, and my eyes were immediately covered by a scorching palm. The tension and excitement became utterly overwhelming. Fueled by the adrenaline rush, my mouth was forced open. Spring blossoms outshined the crabapple. The spring water in the pond rippled again and again. I was kissed into a blur. Break my heart. I'm easy to break. A husky voice held back the passion to its absolute limit. My reason was worn down time and again, only to be gently reclaimed each time. Song Mo left, and he didn't even recognize my license plate. I tightened my grip on Jiang Sui's arm and, this time, took the initiative to meet him, because I finally saw truth clearly. A person only needs to please themselves. I don't know when I got back to the apartment. This was the first time I had brought a man home other than Song Mo. We spent the whole night in a wild, reckless haze. The colored neon lights pull the allure of the night into a world of dazzling revelry. The phone continues its incessant vibration, the whispers between lovers, the intoxicating, intimate closeness people often call desire, physical attraction. And I suppose that's largely true. Once you get a taste, it's hard to stop. 9. The consequence of a night of indulgence was that I didn't get out of bed until the sun was high in the sky the next day. The room was spotless, a far cry from the mess of last night. Even the tissues and small wrappers in the trash had been cleared away. After changing, I ambled into the living room to find everything back in its place, neatly arranged. It only dawned on me later that I wasn't even angry about their departure. 5-star review. I sent a WeChat message over. I vaguely remember last night's embrace, the taut abs and Adonis belt, sweat beading on that sun-kissed skin, each drop a sultry invitation. No surprise, those firm back muscles probably still bear the marks of my nails from last night. I smiled absently. So women are just as bad as men once they get what they want. After washing up and putting on a face mask, I went to the kitchen. Then I saw the note stuck on the fridge. I wasn't sure what you'd like, so I made a bit of both, Western and Chinese style. My gaze drifted to the food warmer and the dining table, and an image flashed in my mind of the man wearing my pink apron, bustling about in the kitchen. He's really quite capable. I opened the food warmer. The presentation of the dishes is excellent, the taste and texture are surprisingly good, and it's all my favorite stuff. To know my preferences this well, I wonder which young master is out here slumming it. Buy whatever you like. If it's not enough, just let me know. I transferred 20,000 over, with a note saying it was a gift. 2 minutes later, I received a reply. Sis, you don't have to be in such a hurry to cut ties with me. I'm your obedient puppy. And I can be a different kind of puppy for you every day. O_O. The money was refunded to the original source. I glanced at it and didn't reply. Perhaps I was right. 20,000 probably isn't even enough for his pocket money. A student from University A. There aren't any prominent families surnamed Jiang in this city. The Jiang from the Beijing circle. I raised an eyebrow. Even if they're not remotely connected, if money can solve it, it's not a problem. But if money can't, that's a tough one. 10. Suiha is pregnant. Just over a month along. Mrs. Song was absolutely overjoyed when she told me the news, and she asked me to come back to the Song family home that evening for a family dinner. I declined. Mian, don't make this difficult for me. You haven't been answering my calls these past few days. I fell silent for a moment, and the truth dawned on me. So you've known about Song Mo and me for a long time, haven't you? She didn't deny it, simply stating, a marriage alliance with the Su family would be good for the Song family. Alright, I understand. In their eyes, I always seemed quite obedient, including the 3 years I spent playing the role of Song Mo's dutiful little sister. It's as if I've always been this submissive. I am the child taken in by Mother Song. I've known this secret since I was 15, the year she chose to remarry Song Mo's father. As for who my biological parents are, I don't really care, nor do I have any particular desire to seek them out and return to my roots. She raised me for all those years and never mistreated me materially, so I've always been clear about how to maximize my own interests. By being the well-behaved girl in everyone else's eyes, I get to enjoy the Song family's privileged lifestyle, resources, and connections. It was only with Song Mo that I lost all sense of propriety. This obsession has lingered to this day, to the point where I almost convinced myself I was born a wealthy heiress. 11. In the evening, I went to Changyuan as promised, only to find the Su family was also there. Song Mo and Suiha would be arriving a little later. I felt a bit like I was intruding on their happy family gathering, so after a few pleasantries and a couple of drinks, I made an excuse and left. I slipped away to the gazebo to have a quiet smoke. Jiang Sui sent me a message. Wanna play some pool? Sis, you even know I play pool. You've really done your homework. I gave a perfunctory reply, working on my thesis. Liar, I don't believe you. I stubbed out my cigarette and smiled. Yeah, so what if I'm messing with you? Okay, I couldn't help but laugh again. My little brother likes to put on an act, but he's got guts, and I don't really mind it. Footsteps sounded behind me, and I locked my phone screen. I didn't need to guess who it was. Didn't you promise me you'd quit smoking? Song Mo glanced at the half-smoked cigarette beside me and frowned. I rolled over, leaning my back against the railing as the cold wind swept past my neck, and sneered, at this hour, shouldn't you be with your wife? What are you doing here? He didn't answer. After his gaze lingered on my neck for a brief moment, he reached out and pulled out my hairpin. My long hair cascaded down like a waterfall. This suits you better. His fingers traced the hairpin in my hair, his cool gaze holding back the murkiness of the night. I cast a careless glance his way, shifting to put some distance between us. If you like the pin so much, you can have it, but you're a father now. You ought to know where to draw the line. You blame me. His eyes locked onto me, unyielding, that look of deep affection, the sight of falling from a great height, crafting each and every lie, time and again. I just found it amusing. Don't say such misleading things in the future. Stop fooling around. Mian, brother, I have my pride too, you know. His eyes darkened, his expression inscrutable. Mian, you've changed. I let out a derisive laugh. Song Mian at 15, secretly in love. Song Mian at 20, laying her heart bare. Song Mian at 23, getting dumped. These 8 years have been one hell of an addictive trap, wouldn't you agree? Song Mo, you're still angry with me. He kept my face, his cool, handsome eyes looking as if they'd been wounded to the core. Don't try to provoke me by seeing other people. Later, I'll explain everything to you. I slapped his hand away, a wave of disgust washing over me. Do you really think I'd fall for your tricks again, Song Mo? The thrill you're seeking ends here. He acted as if he hadn't heard, his thumb brushing over my neck as if wiping away something filthy. Be good, don't make a scene. I couldn't reach you for days. I was worried sick. Next time, apply your foundation thicker. It's not a good look for the elders to see you like this. Once I've sorted things out, I promise to make Mian happy. In my heart, you'll always be the most special one. What are you doing? 12. From a distance, I saw the look of shock on Suiha's face. quickly followed by anger and disgust. My mouth fell open instinctively, but I found I had no defense. These 3 years with Song Mo have been a truly sordid, shameful affair. He sensed my feelings and lured me into taking the first step. Time and again, I was placated, always believing he would handle it, that is, until the wedding went ahead as planned, until it became a shotgun marriage. It felt like he played the cruelest joke on me, and I was left spinning in circles, completely fooled. As my senses returned, Soo-iha raised her hand to slap me. I didn't flinch, yet the blow never came. Song Mo grabbed her wrist and stepped in front of me. "Miss Soo, you've gone too far, Miss Soo." Hearing that form of address, Soo-iha's eyes instantly blazed red. "Song Mo, you're my husband, you're my child's father, and you're telling me I've gone too far? What about her? What is she to you? You and her?" "Mian Mian is the little sister I've doted on since she was a child. She's practically family." Song Mo's tone was unnervingly calm, without a single ripple of emotion. Soo-iha let out a bitter, incredulous laugh. The look she shot me was brimming with hatred and humiliation. "Sister, what a fine sister. Song Mian, you're such a hypocrite. The two of you are disgusting, utterly vile. The Song family heir carrying on with his own stepsister before the wedding. Aren't you afraid of becoming a laughingstock if this gets out?" Soo-iha spat out the words, a wave of nausea from her agitation making her retch. Song Mo remained impassive, yet his gaze turned utterly frigid. "Miss Soo, you still refuse to see reason. Ours was always a marriage of convenience, meant to safeguard the interests of both families. Stock market turmoil benefits neither side. As for that night, you, as the person involved, know perfectly well it was an accident, but in accordance with our family's agreement, I will take responsibility." "An accident," Soo-iha murmured, as if all her strength had been drained. "You're threatening me, for her sake." That pained expression was the spitting image of my own when Song Mo had coldly rejected me all those years ago. "So it was all a lie. Everything you felt for me was fake." Tears streamed down her face as she trembled. "To afford Miss Soo the respect and dignity she deserves, I believed we had a mutual understanding on this point." Song Mo maintained his air of superiority, perhaps at his core. He was simply this cold and selfish. He could grant you what you desired, and just as easily take it back on a whim. To him, affection was merely a casual diversion. What a vile creature, toying with people's hearts so wantonly. Perhaps my time with the Song family should have ended long ago. "Do you want to hear the truth?" I walked towards Soo-iha. "Mian Mian, there's a limit to this tantrum." Song Mo grabbed me. I snatched the hairpin and held it out in front of him. I grazed the skin on the back of his hand, and his gaze gradually darkened, ignoring his warning. I continued speaking to Soo-iha. "You're right, we are despicable. I've had a crush on him for 5 years, and he's been toying with me for 3. He was even pinning me against the wall for a kiss in the garden the night before your wedding. He wanted to keep this tense, thrilling affair going forever, but now, I'm spitting out this rotten apple, and he's still trying to sweet-talk me as usual. Isn't it laughable?" Soo-iha trembled with rage. Song Mo snapped angrily. "Song Mian, I didn't let up. See, what he cares about most is still his own interests. He's afraid the Soo and Song families will terminate their cooperation. He's a complete and utter bastard. As for the child, maybe it's just a way to tie you down, or perhaps he can gain even more by using you and the child, from start to finish. Has he ever shown the slightest concern for your well-being? Has he ever asked you how you're doing?" Soo-iha let out a ghastly, pale laugh. "You're disgusting. I'll never forgive you." "Never." Bright red blood began to flow from between her legs. Her entire body went limp as she collapsed to the floor. In that instant, Song Mo's pupils constricted. He shoved me away violently, his usually composed demeanor completely shattered. "Song Mian, I can indulge your willfulness any other day, but today you went too far by taking it out on Iha just to get back at me. If anything happens to the baby." I couldn't make out Song Mo's final words. All I felt was my forehead striking a stone corner, followed by waves of dizziness and a ringing in my ears. What happened? People began to trickle in, then came a chorus of gasps and shouts. "Iha, what's wrong? What happened to my daughter? Get her to the hospital, now. What are you waiting for?" 13. Soo-iha had a miscarriage and lost the baby. When she woke up in the hospital bed, she was sobbing and demanding a divorce. "You ungrateful girl, look at the mess you've made." When Mrs. Song slapped me across the face, my mind went completely blank. "Mr. Soo roared in fury, if the Song family doesn't give us a proper explanation for this, I won't let the matter rest. Child, I've always treated you well, haven't I? All these years, I've regarded you as my own daughter. To the outside world, you are the Song family's young lady, and now, you bring shame upon our house." Mr. Song sighed in resignation. He turned to a servant and said, "Very well. Bring out the family discipline, as the whip lashed against my body again and again. Madame Song's endless stream of curses and accusations filled my ears. All these years, I thought you were so well behaved, I gave you the best of everything, treated you like a precious jewel, and you even tried to seduce your stepbrother, and now, out of sheer jealousy, you've caused your sister-in-law to lose her child. I deeply regret raising such an ungrateful wretch. After all the trouble your Uncle Song went through to find you a good match, how could you be so shameless? If this gets out, you'll bring ruin upon the entire Song family. Blood slowly seeped from the savage welts on my skin. Strangely, I felt no pain. I always knew this day would come, because I've always been an outsider here, even though they treated me well enough most of the time, and the moment their interests are threatened, I become something they can discard at any time. Song's mother didn't want to lose the Song family's powerful backing because of me, even though she was the love of Song's father's life. She needed to placate the anger of both the Song and Su families. Song's father didn't want to offend the Su family and jeopardize their partnership because of me. As for Song Yamo, the heir to the Song family, nothing mattered more than the family business. I've always remembered the reason Song's father gave for letting Song's mother keep me when I was 15. He said, "She's quite pretty, she could be useful for a political marriage in the future. Let's keep her around for now, she might come in handy." With this lash, I repay the debt of my upbringing by Mother Song. Today, I accept it. From this moment on, I am severed from them. A mere family punishment is far too lenient. My daughter has lost her child and suffered immense physical and emotional trauma. Even if that boy Song Yamo were to kneel and beg for forgiveness, it could never make up for the harm done to my daughter. Mr. Su glared at me coldly, a flash of ruthlessness in his eyes. You make a fair point, in-law. I will certainly discipline this wayward daughter of mine properly, said Mr. Song with a pleasant expression, though his face twisted into a look of disgust the moment his gaze shifted to me. From today onward, she is forbidden from leaving the house without my permission. Furthermore, all her financial support from the Song family is to be cut off until she truly understands the error of her ways. Now, take the young miss to Fushan. Mrs. Song was stunned. Fushan. But if she goes to Fushan, what will become of her future? Mr. Su let out a cold, disdainful snort. Mr. Song immediately barked at his wife. Look at the fine daughter you've raised. Be quiet. Mother Song's face instantly darkened. I couldn't help but sneer inwardly. Fushan, that's the infamous psychiatric hospital. If I go there, I'll never come back. Just waiting to rot and stink. But it doesn't matter. From today onward, the cooperative relationship between the Song and Su families will never be the same. Looking back now, Su Iha had her suspicions as early as the wedding day. No, perhaps even earlier. It was every time Song Yamo treated her as if she were me, or when he was drunk in her bed and passionately called out my name. If all this is just my speculation, then isn't it all just too much of a coincidence? Her gaze towards me was so innocent it held no hostility, yet it often concealed a bone-chilling coldness, like the deliberate act at the wedding, for instance. Today's gathering, for instance. A miscarriage, for instance. The Su family was determined to make the Song family sever ties with me and have me committed to a psychiatric hospital. So, even though she knew full well that Song Yamo was in a relationship with me, she still agreed to the arranged marriage and even became pregnant with his child. She saw me as nothing more than an ant she could crush at any moment, watching my struggles from the shadows with cold amusement. Fortunately, I've always kept an escape route open for myself over the years. I used the Song family's resources to learn what I wanted and do as I pleased, quietly making my own investments and even secretly starting a company. I wouldn't call myself wealthy, but I'm comfortably well off. I should have left a long time ago. 14. When Song Yamo heard I was to be sent to Fushan, he rushed back from the hospital that very night. Perhaps this was the last shred of pity Madame Song had for me. She knew what would become of me in Fushan and hoped Song Yamo could pull some strings or plead on my behalf, but that was the extent of it. Little did she know that. As I was being put into the car, Song Yamo merely frowned slightly at the sight of me covered in blood. You shouldn't have said those things that made Ihwa miscarry. I'll come for you once you've reflected properly. Behave yourself. I watched him without saying a word. A miscarriage? It's not that easy to have one. It's just Su Iha's little scheme. There's no point in explaining now. All these years, I nearly fell into an abyss with no way back. He said it again. Sleepyhead, be good. Your brother will always be here for you. Thank goodness, at least I wasn't a complete fool. Before the car even left the city limits, I seized my chance at a traffic light and smashed the window. My forehead, body, and legs were covered in blood, my mouth was taped shut, and my wrists were tightly bound. There was hardly any traffic on the road in the early hours of the morning. In my horrifying state, no one dared to stop for me. I ran frantically onto the sidewalk. The Song family's driver glanced at the surveillance cameras around and didn't dare get out to chase me. He just ran a red light and sped off. I walked for a kilometer before reaching the entrance of a store that was still open, nearly collapsing from exhaustion by the roadside. The shopkeeper, a woman, let out a frightened scream and took a moment to collect herself. I asked her to make a phone call for me. She nodded, her face pale the moment the call connected. A wave of relief washed over me. However, the voice that answered was a woman's, with a coy, affected tone. Who is this? I need to speak with Jiang Sui now. He's not here. I know he is. Put him on. Who do you think you are? The next second, I heard Jiang Sui's voice. She's my everything. Who gave you permission to touch my phone? I only did it because you didn't hear it, so I was trying to help. Get lost. The call was taken back. The hot-tempered big cat instantly switched from being a sweet kitty. Sis, I don't know her. I didn't answer. The noisy chatter on the other end of the line abruptly stopped. Someone teased, who's the girl you're talking to? Sui Ji, you're using your sweet voice. That's pretty awkward. Unconsciously, the corners of my mouth lifted slightly as I murmured, Jiang Sui, I'm here, 325 Xinhua Avenue, right now. I want to see you. Will you come? I'm coming. I wasn't even surprised. I've heard that busy tone too many times, but never once was it as desperate as just now, even though my only goal was to get him to please me. Just one meeting is enough. One meeting would ease all the symptoms. They hit me, oppressive. Heavy breaths slowly filled my ears when Jiang Sui spoke again. His voice was hoarse beyond recognition. Does it hurt? The image of him that night, head bowed, asking me to pet him, suddenly flashed before my eyes. In that instant, I softened. It doesn't hurt, but I want a hug. Hush now. Don't cry. Come here. I'll hold you. I'll make them pay for this. The hoarse voice was thick with tenderness. Not long after, I heard the blaring shriek of a car horn. 15 When Jiang Sui found me, his eyes were completely bloodshot. He punched the store's sign, smashing it to pieces and scaring the owner half to death. I gave her an apologetic look. I'm sorry. I'll pay for it. It's all right, miss. You should get to the hospital. Before leaving, I gave the shopkeeper the earrings I was wearing, the only piece of Song family jewelry I had on me, worth about 200,000. I was planning to donate that along with the other things when Jiang Sui picked me up. His hands were trembling. Leaning into the crook of his shoulder, I whispered softly, it's okay, I'm not in much pain, I just missed you. His arms tightened around me. I'm going out of my mind. Song Mian, do you have any idea what you're doing? I gently kissed his neck. It really doesn't hurt. I could still pull the carrot with you. Believe me, you're still trying to mess with me in this state. Have a death wish. Watching his Adam's apple bob, I murmured, you didn't seem to hold back that night. That was different. He turned his face away. You're so angry you won't even call me sister anymore. I lowered my head and reached out to hug him again. Don't be upset. Consider it even. Did you ever think about what would have happened if I hadn't come today? But you did come. You'd come whenever I call. You said you'd always take care of me. He didn't say anything. Still mad at me. So I asked again, if I run out of money, will you take care of me? He had no choice but to agree. I will. Then, what if I said I'm just into you for your body? Would you be angry? No. Then, what if I only ever crave your body? Will you stay with me forever? Yes. Why? I buried my head in his chest, listening to that addictive heartbeat over and over. Because Jiang Sui would only ever be Song Mian's dog, obeying without question. I was stunned, and after a long pause, I murmured, what nonsense are you talking? You're so hard to please. I don't like it. 16 Jiang Sui took me to his family's private hospital in the city. I couldn't stand the smell of the hospital, so I went back to my apartment to recuperate for several days. A private doctor came to see me every day during that time. In just those few short days, I became unbearably spoiled and willful. I couldn't figure out where his limits were. He was practically attached to my hip every single day. Is this how all the young masters from the capital live when they're slumming it? All romance and poetry? Not at all. It's only for you, sister. He leaned gently into the crook of my shoulder, like a cat waiting to be petted. As the last golden light of dusk settled on our shoulders, he cupped my face and kissed me softly. Do you like me a little more now? I lowered my gaze. The madness and passion of that night are still vivid in my mind. My ears burned with an unnatural heat. He leaned in close, his voice a husky whisper by my ear. I want to lay my whole heart bare before you, sister. I want to see you cry for me. I want to be the only one in your eyes. I want to please you, day and night. In his deep, restrained gaze, I bloomed like a radiant light. 17 The news of my escape didn't reach the Song family until the next day. Song Mo brought doctors to Fushan but couldn't find me. He was completely beside himself. A week later, he and Suiha had a huge public argument over the East City project, which was caught on camera by the media. Soo-iha publicly humiliated him, calling him a disgusting, sister-obsessed dog. She claimed the Song family had even sent me to a psychiatric hospital to protect their reputation, and even released videos of me being abused in the Song household. Enraged, Song Yamo slapped Soo-iha right there in public. He called her a slut, accusing her of trying to pin another man's child on him and of drugging him while he was drunk to force herself on him. The internet exploded instantly. The stocks of the Soo and Song families plummeted, followed swiftly by scandals involving tax evasion and embezzlement of public funds. I saw Song's mother again at the school. In that moment, she seemed to have aged 10 years. Mian, your brother. He's not my brother. Mother Song's eyes welled up with tears. I know I've failed you as a mother, but please, for all the years I've raised you, for the kindness the Song family has shown you, I can do nothing about legal matters, nor are they any concern of mine. Mian, I know you hate me, but I had no other choice. But I am not your biological daughter. She froze, her face turning pale. I said calmly, I've known about this since I was 15. I also know why you kept me around, but thanks to your interference, I've come to understand a lot of things. Mian, that's not how it is. Listen to your mother, Ms. Song. There are 2 million in this card. Money I've saved from investments over the years. It's not even a fraction of what the Song family had at its peak, but I earned it myself. What you do with it is your business. As for whether the Song family goes bankrupt or not, that's not my concern. Mian, I'm begging you. Mother Song wept as she knelt before me. Please plead with Madam Lee. I raised you for 23 years. After all, passers-by turned to look. Isn't that the young lady who was just recognized by the Lee family of the capital a few days ago? That's her, Song Mian, the one with the questionable relationship with Song Mo. She's turned the Song and Soo families upside down, driving them to the brink of bankruptcy. Look, her adoptive mother is kneeling and begging her, and she still has that attitude. You haven't seen the news, have you? This is the treasure the Lee family has been searching for all these years. Serves those 2 families right for bullying them so inhumanely. Ms. Song, this is a school. If you insist on humiliating me like this, before I could finish my sentence, someone bear hugged me from behind. Happy graduation, sis. Holy crap, Jiang Sui, have you heard? The crown prince of the Beijing social scene traveled 1,000 miles to find his fiancée. He's been showing up everywhere she goes. Bubble tea shops, bars, pool halls, just to get on her radar. Took him forever to finally reel her in. Someone puffed out their chest with smug pride. Come on, sis, praise me, me. You guys don't know the whole story. That year, Song Mian was plastered against the wall, while he was in bed. His own buddy spilled the beans on Weibo. What a creepy, sleazy guy. Jiang Sui shot a glare at those people. Only after they shut up did he obediently nuzzle into the crook of my neck. I missed you, sis. We promised we'd travel together after graduation. I need to make a trip back to the capital first. Uncle Lee said I could take you out first. The old man wants us to spend more time together and get closer. Stop putting more on my plate. Okay, Mian, Mrs. Song spoke up. Again, her name isn't Mian anymore. Jiang Sui cut in. She has a new name now. Li Xingyao. Madame Song's face turned deathly pale. He continued, if my sister hadn't stopped me that day, the Song family's fate would have been far worse than it is now. So don't come pestering her again. I can't promise I'll be so lenient next time. I tugged at Jiang Sui's hand. Let's go. Mian, don't go. Well, there's another one. Jiang Sui's eyes turned cold as he looked at the deranged man. Approaching, I frowned. Mian, you were lying to your brother, weren't you? Song Mo's voice was low and hoarse, his eyes rimmed red. As long as Mian stays obediently by my side, I don't care if I'm called a beast or a monster. Sis, go wait for me over there first. I shot a glance at Jiang Sui. The hostility welling up inside me was almost impossible to conceal. All right, but make it quick, and remember, we're at school. Keep it down. I know what I'm doing. Mian, are you really going to abandon your brother? It was Soo-iha's dirty trick. I mistook her for you by accident. A sickening thud of fist meeting flesh. You just can't take a hint, can you? I turned and said, put your back into it. That's still too weak. 18. The Soo and Song families went bankrupt, all in the span of just 2 weeks. Song Mo has lost his mind. The Soo family has been desperately knocking on doors, begging people to help them find me so they can apologize, as if I have time for them, sis. I've got everything packed up. When I came out after my face mask, I found Jiang Sui had everything ready, the itinerary, travel routes, daily outfits, toiletries, makeup. He had packed every single item neatly, all sorted into categories. There's nothing he can't do. only things I haven't thought of, just step out the door, sis, I'll handle everything. Not only does this guy know how to do my makeup, he's also great at taking my picture, an absolute must-have for travel. It's seriously awesome. One day after we got married, I found him a bit too clingy, so I went out with my girlfriends to hang out with some eye candy to kill time. I hadn't even settled in properly when he showed up. Having changed his outfit, my bestie saw what was happening and immediately cleared everyone out, making a quick getaway. Hey sis, I can put on a show too. While dancing, Jiang Sui took my hand and guided it to feel his abs. I averted my gaze, my hand feeling like it was burning. Let's save this for when we get home. It's not really appropriate out here. No, 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 home can't compare to the thrill of being outside, a different spot every day. Can't let my dear sister get bored. Help me. The end. That's all for the first story. Don't go away. The next one is even more thrilling. Upon learning that her sniper husband was about to embark on an S-class high-risk mission that very night, her father-in-law drugged him, locked him in a room with the young housemaid, and insisted he leave behind an heir. After a night of passion, he dragged the girl to kneel before me, pressing the gun barrel to his temple. Nyen nyen, punish me however you want, just don't leave me. My heart was being torn apart, but I had no choice but to accept this accident. But later, I caught him pinning the young maid against the wine cabinet, thrusting and groping her without restraint. Shin Zichuan added, Nyen nyen, my mother and grandmother both died in childbirth. I was so terrified of losing you that I had her bear the risks of pregnancy for you. I believed him again, watching him frequent the maid's room, entangled with her all night long. It wasn't until the young maid became pregnant that he started slipping me sleeping pills every night, just to have his secret rendezvous with her. In that moment, my heart broke for him completely. I turned and sent an encrypted message. I am taking over this S-class high-risk mission. Please erase all records of me and my child within 1 week. After sending the message, I opened the photo album. Inside were photos of An growing up. From 2 months old to 3 years old, the child's eyes and brows grew more and more like Shin Zichuan's. Anyone could see it was his child. 4 years ago, I found out I was pregnant unexpectedly. Shin Zichuan was deep undercover on a mission at the time. To avoid distracting him, I went abroad to have the baby. Fearing retaliation from the criminal syndicate, I kept the child's existence a complete secret, telling no one. I had planned to tell Shin Zichuan this surprise on our wedding anniversary. Now, it seems there's no need. In a week's time, all traces of me and my child will be completely erased from this world. Over the next few days, I rushed to pack my things, only to make a shocking discovery. The police badge my mother left me, a symbol of her service and honor, was missing. I asked everyone, but they all said they hadn't touched it. Only Tang Shishir spoke up timidly. That big piece of metal, I thought it was trash, so I threw it out 3 days ago. I didn't have time to point out the holes in her story. I just rushed to the dump. In over 40-degree heat, I spent the entire day sifting through tons of garbage with my bare hands, until I collapsed from heatstroke and dehydration and was taken to the hospital. When Shin Zichuan found out, he flew into a rage at Tang Shishir. If this happens again, get out of the Shin family. Tang Shishir, tears streaming down her face, kept bowing and apologizing to me. But a few days later, Tang Shishir went missing. When she was finally found, she was buried in a pile of garbage, covered in wounds from head to toe. The moment she saw me, she screamed and began slapping her own face repeatedly, crying, I'm sorry, madam, I'll never touch your things again. I lost something of yours. I deserve this punishment. I tried desperately to explain that I had no idea, but then, I heard Shin Zichuan say to the butler, smash that police badge, to torment the living over a dead object. Does Qian Yan have any sense of public duty left? 3 days later, Tang Shishir was discharged from the hospital. I went to military training as usual, but she insisted on seeing me off. When I refused, her eyes welled up with tears as she asked me plaintively, is madam still upset with me? What must I do to earn your forgiveness? Shin Zichuan also frowned and chided, Nyen Nyen, don't take this too far. I had no choice but to get into her car, but halfway through the drive, Tang Shishir's face turned deathly pale. Madam, she said, the brakes have failed. My heart skipped a beat, but I quickly composed myself and told her to shift gears, ease off the gas, and call the traffic police. Yet, Tang Shishir yanked the steering wheel hard. In the instant before the car slammed into the boulder, she threw herself in front of me. By the time Shin Zichuan heard the news and rushed over, he arrived just in time to see Tang Shishir being loaded onto an ambulance on a stretcher. He sprinted towards us, his steps halting abruptly before her. Finally, he turned to me and pulled me into a tight embrace. Nyen Nyen, you scared me half to death. Shin Zichuan didn't even glance at Tang Shishir. Yet that night in the hospital, Shin Zichuan pinned her to the hospital bed, his dark eyes simmering with suppressed anger and lingering fear. Who told you to throw yourself in front of it? Do you have any idea how terrified I was when I saw you being carried into the ambulance? For heaven's sake, you're pregnant. Can't you just take it easy? Shin Zichuan then captured her lips in a kiss filled with both longing and helplessness, as if pouring all his tenderness into her. My heart had gone numb. I turned and walked away in silence. In the early hours of the morning, someone shook me awake. I opened my eyes, only to meet Shin Zichuan's gaze, which was as cold as ice. He got straight to the point, his voice icy. The break line was deliberately cut. My mind went blank. What do you mean? Shin Zichuan's eyes were full of disappointment. You're the only one in this house who knows about these things. A chill ran through my body, my fingertips trembling involuntarily. If I said I didn't do it, would you believe me? Fury blazed in Shin Zichuan's eyes. I told you I'd send her away the moment she gave birth. She's been protecting you all this time. Why can't you just let her be? My chest heaved violently. A torrent of grievances and rage choking in my throat. I wanted to ask if he'd forgotten. We were once comrades who trusted each other with our lives, who shared an absolute bond of faith, but in the end, I just looked at him wearily, my voice trembling as I spoke each word deliberately. Since you don't believe me, I have nothing left to say. I'm moving out of here tomorrow. Nian Nian. Shin Zichuan's voice was a sharp command, his deep eyes churning with fury, my eyes red-rimmed. I met his gaze with stubborn defiance. After a long moment, Shin Zichuan took a deep breath and released his grip. Let's end this matter here. No one is to pursue it any further. With that, he strode out of the room and slammed the door shut. For the next 2 days, Shin Zichuan never once came back, but I didn't care anymore. After tomorrow night, I could take him in and leave him for good. Yet, it was at this moment that Tang Shishir vanished. Chapter 2. Shin Zichuan had practically turned the entire city of Jiangqing upside down, yet he still couldn't find a trace of Tang Shishir. In a rage, he smashed his phone and whipped his head around to glare at me. Nian Nian, tell me, where is Tang Shishir? I shook my head. I don't know. I really don't. This wasn't the first time he doubted me because of Tang Shishir, yet the pain in my chest was still raw and searing. Someone handed over Tang Shishir's phone from before her disappearance. The last call had been to me. Shin Zichuan rubbed the space between his brows, a vein throbbing at his temple. Nian Nian, the evidence is all right here. Are you still not going to admit it? I let out a cold laugh. Just because of one phone call, you suspect I was the one who had Tang Shishir kidnapped? I thought of that call Tang Shishir made to me before she went missing. I went to the junkyard on my own. I found the brake line myself. I knew I wouldn't be seriously hurt even if we crashed. That's why I threw myself in to save you. A man's pity and guilt are the most enduring form of love. I want Shin Zichuan to feel a little soft-hearted, a little sorry for me, to compensate me out of guilt, until I completely replace you. Her ambition was laid bare, not a shred of it hidden over the phone. Qian Yan, I know you and Shin Zichuan have a child together. Care to make a wager? Let's bet on who Shin Zichuan values more, you and your child, or me and the baby I'm carrying. So, Tang Shishir's kidnapping and disappearance were entirely staged by her, but Shin Zichuan simply didn't believe a word I said. He looked at me with disappointment. A person's life is at stake. Nian Nian, when did you become like this? As night fell and the people he sent out still hadn't found Tang Shishir, Shin Zichuan completely lost his patience. I heard from Tang Shishir that you adopted a child from the orphanage. My spine went rigid. Shin Zichuan raised his hand, and someone dragged in a burlap sack. Something alive was thrashing inside. He picked up an iron rod beside him, his expression vicious. Nian Nian, this is your last chance. If you don't talk, the child won't make it. And then, my eyes instantly reddened. I lunged forward, only to be yanked back violently. Shin Zichuan raised the iron rod high and brought it crashing down with brutal force. No, my pupils dilated, my vision flooded crimson, as if the rod had slammed into my own back. A muffled sob came from the sack. The person inside jerked from the impact, then slumped heavily, falling still. A pool of bright red blood began to seep from the sack. Ah, I'm going completely insane. The whole world is a bloody red. The second blow was raised high once more. Stop, that's your child in there. He's your son. I was being dragged and pulled, screaming my lungs out. Tears mingled with blood. My eyes filled with utter despair and devastation. Shin Zichuan's upraised hand froze. Nian Nian, stop joking. We haven't had a child all these years. Why would you lie to me with such a thing? I could no longer care about anything else. Struggling, I crawled to Shin Zichuan's feet, my face streaked with tears, and begged, he really is your child, and really is your son. Please, let him go. Call a doctor. Save him. Shin Zichuan leaned down, tilting my chin up. Be good, Nian Nian, tell me where Shishir is, and I'll let him go. I shook my head desperately, tears streaming down my face. I don't know. I really don't know. Please, let Anan go. I'm begging you, let him go. A sudden chill flashed in Shin Zichuan's eyes as he brought the club down hard once more. A muffled groan came from the sack, then all fell completely silent. Ah, no, ah. I suddenly coughed up a mouthful of blood, and my entire body began to convulse violently. The third strike, the fourth strike, after 10 solid blows, the sack fell completely silent, and then, the sack was now motionless, and the ground beneath it was stained a vivid crimson. I collapsed to my knees, my body seizing up as if electrocuted before breaking into uncontrollable tremors. He coughed up another mouthful of blood. Shin Zichuan stepped forward, his black leather shoe sinking into the pool of blood. He ground his heel viciously into the bag. Nian Nian, still refusing to talk, he stomped down on it again with brutal force. The sickening crunch of shattering bone was unmistakable, and then, I screamed in utter despair, crawling forward desperately, only to be yanked back violently. I couldn't hold back another raw, ragged scream. Shin Zichuan, I curse you, may you never have another child in this lifetime. Shin Zichuan's body went rigid. Just then, someone rushed in. Captain Shin, we've found Miss Tang. Shin Zichuan's hand, which had been stroking my hair, stilled. Tell me the exact location, now. He stood up immediately and rushed out without a backward glance. Everyone left in a flurry, with bloodshot eyes. I crawled over and, trembling, untied the burlap sack inside. Anan was covered in blood, her bones shattered. She lay limp on the ground like a broken rag doll, long since gone silent. With the utmost care, I lifted Anan from the pool of blood, pressing my cheek against his. He had only been in this world for 3 short years, living in obscurity, never even getting the chance to know his own family, before being beaten to death by his own father. In that moment, I wished I could have gone with him. Chapter 3. Not long after Shin Zichuan left, 2 men entered and tried to wrest Anan from my arms. Captain Shin's orders, we're to clean this place up, to welcome Miss Tang back. As if jolted awake, I clutched Anan tightly. Where are you taking him? Captain Shin said to dump the body in the outskirts for the dogs. The visitor showed no courtesy, forcibly snatched Anan from my arms, disdainfully tossed her into a burlap sack, and walked out the door. And then, I chased after them with a heart-wrenching cry, only to be locked inside. When Shin Zichuan returned with Tang Shirshir, all they saw was me, catatonic and collapsed on the floor of the hall. Was it you who ordered Anan's body to be thrown to the wild for the dogs? I rose to my feet, my eyes burning with bitter hatred. Shin Zichuan's face darkened as he said to me, do you have any idea that your kidnapping caused Tang Shirshir to lose her child? I suddenly burst into laughter, a sound of utter desolation. Shin Zichuan, I curse you and Tang Shirshir to hell. Shin Zichuan's face instantly darkened. If you hadn't hired people to kidnap Tang Shirshir and force yourself on her, she wouldn't have lost the child while trying to escape. Shin Zichuan's expression turned grim, his eyes filled with disappointment. Now you'll get a taste of what it feels like to be forced. Shin Zichuan found 4 men and locked them in a room with me. I struggled as I was dragged into the room. Shin Zichuan, I hate you. I wish I had never met you. The remaining sounds were abruptly cut off by the slamming door. Soon, the room was filled with the sounds of my struggles and sobs, the tearing of clothes, and heart-wrenching screams. 2 hours later, I lay numb on the floor, with only tattered rags covering my body. The 4 of them left the room one by one, leaving me alone, discarded in the empty room like a rag doll. I stared vacantly at the ceiling, my soul feeling as if it had been ripped away. And Anan is dead once again. I've been pushed into hell by the one I love. I suddenly stood up, wrapped my tattered clothes tighter around me, and climbed onto the windowsill. Outside the window, the sea roared, and in the boundless night sky, only the morning star still shone. I remembered the fairy tale I once read with Anan. He said, Mommy, if I die, I want to become a star in the sky and watch over you. Tears streamed down my cheeks. I closed my eyes, ready to go join my star, when my phone rang. Ms. Qianyan, the S-Class high-risk mission Dawnbreaker has been initiated. A special agent will rendezvous with you in 15 minutes. Codename, Morning Star. 15 minutes later, a black sedan was parked outside the Shin residence. In a hoarse whisper, I said, Morning Star, mission accepted. A pair of large hands pulled me into the car. The scenery outside the window blurred past, the lights smearing into streaks as we passed the most luxurious hotel downtown. I saw Shin Zichuan sharing a candlelit dinner with Tang Shirshir. He gently caressed her face, the tenderness and devotion in his eyes speaking volumes. I coldly averted my gaze, clutching the gun in my hands with a death grip. Shin Zichuan, from now on, the mountains are high and the seas are vast. We shall never meet again. Chapter 4. Shin Zichuan did not return home for a full fortnight. He thought this time he needed to give me the cold shoulder properly, and not spoil me too much. I'll go back to find you. After he and Tang Shishir finished their wedding on the wedding day, the big screen began scrolling through affectionate photos of Shen Zichuan and Tang Shishir. Before the photos played on the screen, Shen Zichuan lowered his head and took out his phone. Nian Nian. I was wrong before, Tang Shishir won't come between us anymore. I'll come back as soon as I get Nian Nian settled in. Message sent. I could already picture the delighted look on my face when I received it. A smile tugged unconsciously at Shen Zichuan's lips. The next second, the large screen began to scroll. His pupils abruptly constricted. My figure suddenly appeared on the large screen, inside the sealed room of the Shen family. 4 men pinned down my limbs. I screamed in utter panic and terror, but was held down on the floor, unable to move a muscle. The crowd below began pulling out their phones to record. Shen Zichuan's face instantly drained of all color. He rushed forward to turn off the big screen, his eyes bloodshot, and screamed hoarsely, Qian Yan. Shen Zichuan had lost his mind. He smashed the big screen on the spot, confiscated everyone's photos and recordings, and ordered everyone present not to spread the word. The next second, Shen Zichuan abandoned Tang Shishir and rushed home like a madman. The house was completely empty, frozen in time just as it had been half a month ago. Shen Zichuan rushed to the room where Qian Yan had been held, but stopped dead in his tracks, trembling and unable to bring himself to push the door open. Nian, are you still there? Shen Zichuan's voice choked with emotion, his fingertips trembling. There was no response from within. Shen Zichuan's heart plummeted into an abyss as he flung the door open. The room was in complete disarray. A shattered vase, clawed tablecloth, blood on the floor, even Qian Yan's torn clothes. Everything bore silent witness to the horrific tragedy that had unfolded here. Shen Zichuan's mind went blank with a deafening buzz. Shen Zichuan dared not imagine the brutal humiliation and torment his Nian Nian had endured in this very room. And those people, he was the one who had locked them in Qian Yan's room himself. The mere thought of those 4 men pinning down Qian Yan, of her agonized struggle, was enough to make Shen Zichuan's heart ache as if it were dying. Those scenes were like a knife, plunging straight into Shen Zichuan's heart and twisting viciously. Finally, Shen Zichuan's gaze shifted to the open window ledge and the phone teetering precariously on its edge. Shen Zichuan's breath caught in that moment, as if something were hammering violently against his heart. He staggered forward, lunging toward the window ledge. Nian Nian, a tremendous, sorrowful roar tore through the air, leaving behind only the sound of the churning sea outside the window. Shen Zichuan had the 4 men from before brought to him and ordered their arms and legs broken. I told you, whatever part of her you touched, I'd cut off. Do you all have a death wish? Shen Zichuan's eyes were bloodshot, a tempest of fury raging in their depths. It was Miss Tang who said that you despised Mrs. Shen, and told us we could do whatever we wanted to her. The 4 men lay crippled on the ground, their limbs broken, wailing and begging for mercy. The scene was a living hell. Bring Tang Shishir here. When Tang Shishir arrived, she thought Shen Zichuan was furious about Qiao Nian's public humiliation and had summoned her to vent his anger. After all, no man could stand to see his woman publicly humiliated, and not just by one person. As she approached Shen Zichuan, Tang Shishir concealed the triumph in her eyes, replacing it with her usual facade of pure, delicate innocence. Zichuan, even if Miss Qiao is upset, she shouldn't just fool around with other men. Shen Zichuan suddenly raised his hand and grabbed Tang Shishir by the throat, his eyes bloodshot. What are you? How dare you compare yourself to Nian Nian? Shen Zichuan hurled a thick stack of video and audio files at Tang Shishir. Tang Shishir picked it up and looked, and was utterly stunned. It was proof that she had made that final phone call to provoke Qian Yan, staged her own kidnapping, gone to the hospital to abort the child, and then framed Qian Yan for it all. And there was also the video of her replacing the people Shen Zichuan had hired and ordering those 4 men to teach Qian Yan a proper lesson. Tang Shishir felt her whole world collapse. She scrambled on her knees before Shen Zichuan. Zichuan, I was wrong. Please, have mercy on me. Shen Zichuan kicked Tang Shishir away, his eyes blazing with overwhelming hatred and disgust. Take her away, throw her in the asylum and make sure she's well taken care of. Chapter 5. After Tang Shishir was taken away, Shen Zichuan locked himself in his room for 7 days and 7 nights, refusing all food and water. In a self-destructive trance, he clutched Qian Yan's old phone, scrolling through it obsessively. It was as if a part of him had died along with Qian Yan. That was, until he stumbled upon a hidden message on Qian Yan's phone. Following the lead on his phone, Shen Zichuan contacted the agency that handled Qian Yan's information deletion and arranged for her departure. Shen Zichuan used every means at his disposal to make the agency's head talk. 2 months ago, Miss Qiao booked a service to have all her household registration information destroyed and to leave with her and the young master. She specifically said she wanted to disappear forever, to make sure you could never find her. and that you would never know Xiaonan is your child, but the day before her scheduled departure, we lost all contact with Miss Xiao." Shen Zichuan's face turned deathly pale in an instant, his heart felt as if it were being mercilessly crushed, the surroundings began to blur, and he started trembling uncontrollably. So, during all those days he thought Xiaonan had submitted, she had actually been planning to leave all along. So, Xiaonan really was his child. Trembling, Shen Zichuan pulled out his phone, his lips bloodless, and dialed a number. "Find out where Xiaonan is right now." Now, there was a stunned silence on the other end of the line. "Captain Shen, wasn't that child taken by Miss Tang and handed over to you?" What? Like an electric shock, Shen Zichuan's mind went blank with a roar. He staggered, as if struck by a thunderbolt. So back then, it wasn't a stray dog in that sack. Tang Shishir had swapped in the real Xiaonan. Chapter 6. 3 months later, the assistant approached cautiously and placed a report in front of Shen Zichuan. In the report, the head of the Pei family stepped out of a black Lincoln into the night, carefully shielding a young woman. The man's eyes were as dark as night, their depths more profound than the ocean's abyss. The girl was completely shielded in Pei Yanjing's embrace, with only her eyes visible. With just one glance, Shen Zichuan recognized her. It was Qian Yan. Shen Zichuan hurried to the Pei residence in high spirits. "Nian Nian." Qian Yan turned her head at the sound. The moment she saw him, a torrent of hatred flooded her eyes, burning them a furious crimson. "Get out. The sight of you reminds me of how you betrayed me, doubted me, and tortured me, all for Tang Shishir. Remember how you beaten him to death with your own hands, blow by blow, how you crushed his bones inch by inch, and then threw his body into the mass grave to be devoured by dogs. Remember how you locked me in a room with 4 men, letting them violate and beat me, deaf to my screams and pleas for mercy. The memories were too brutal." Qian Yan unconsciously clenched her fists so tightly that her nails drew blood from her palms. Thud, Shen Zichuan abruptly knelt before Qian Yan, lowering his head in agony, his eyes brimming with grief and self-reproach. "Nian Nian, I'm so sorry. You can do whatever you want to me." Pain, regret, and remorse crashed over Shen Zichuan like a tidal wave, engulfing him completely. Qian Yan's gaze turned icy cold. "Do you think a simple sorry can erase your betrayal and the pain you caused? Do you think a simple sorry can bring Inan back to life? Or do you think a simple sorry can undo the violations I suffered?" Shen Zichuan's spine seemed to crumble, inch by inch. "He can never make up for any of the pain he caused." Shen Zichuan crawled on his knees over to Qian Yan, just as Qian Yan had once crawled to him in tears when Xiaonan was snatched and stuffed into a bag. Shen Zichuan lifted his head, his eyes bloodshot, his face already streaked with tears. "Nian Nian, I know Inan is my child, I know everything now. I've dealt with Tang Shishir too. I was wrong, I was so wrong." With frantic, trembling hands, he fumbled the necklace from around his neck and thrust a segment of finger bone towards Qian Yan, his voice shaking as he spoke. "Afterwards, I went to the mass graves to look for Inan. Look, this is Inan's." Qian Yan's body went rigid, her gaze shifted to that small piece of finger bone, and her breath caught in her throat. Her Inan. A wave of excruciating pain surged within Qian Yan. With eyes blazing red, she snatched the tiny finger bone and slapped Shen Zichuan hard across the face. "You don't deserve to have Inan's finger bone. You don't deserve to be his father." Shen Zichuan's heart ached terribly. He kept slapping his own face, trying to atone for his sins. "It was my fault. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry to Inan." Qian Yan took a deep breath and closed her eyes. When she opened them again, nothing remained in her gaze but earth-shattering hatred. "Shen Zichuan, I swear, I will send you and Tang Shishir straight to hell." Qian Yan turned and walked away without a backward glance. Only Shen Zichuan remained, still kneeling on the spot. Shen Zichuan knelt there for 3 days and 3 nights. Motionless, the weather in Jiangqing grew colder, and a torrential downpour began. Shen Zichuan was drenched to the bone in the torrential downpour. Seeing Shen Zichuan still kneeling outside, Pei Yanjing walked to the window. "It's pouring. Should we have someone throw him out?" Qian Yan shook her head, her eyes filled with nothing but profound hatred. He got what he deserved. Chapter 7. Rumors were swirling that the head of the Shen family had gone mad inside the Shen family villa. Shen Zichuan first ordered someone to beat him savagely with an iron rod. No one dared, so Shen Zichuan fired them one by one, until the first man, trembling, struck Shen Zichuan's back with an iron rod. Then came the second blow, the third. A full 100 blows left Shen Zichuan bedridden for half a month. For the 10 blows he personally dealt to Xiaonan, he now repaid them tenfold. Half a month later, Shen Zichuan had barely crawled out of bed when 10 vicious hounds were immediately brought in. Every day, he would throw himself among the hounds, getting bitten until he was covered in blood and wounds, only to be sent for stitches and treatment. Then he would be sent back to continue being mauled by the hounds. This went on for a full fortnight. Shin Zichuan had pushed himself to the brink of death. He wanted to atone for Annen's suffering this way, but it wasn't enough. Shin Zichuan then found 4 brutish, vulgar men, locked himself in with them, and ordered them to treat him in the most savage manner possible. The 4 men hesitated. At first, convinced Shin Zichuan had lost his mind. Who would dare lay a hand on the head of the Shin family, the man who held sway over Jiangqing, unless they had a death wish? Seeing their reluctance, Shin Zichuan dealt with them one by one. Whoever dared not move against him would have their fingers chopped off first. It wasn't until the first man's finger was severed that they truly believed Shin Zichuan meant business, driven by sheer survival. The 4 men lunged at Shin Zichuan like wild beasts, treating him with brutal cruelty. Shin Zichuan gritted his teeth and endured it, utterly revolted and in excruciating pain. So this was the torment his Nian Nian had endured all along. No, what Nian Nian suffered was 100, 1,000 times more agonizing and vile than his own pain. After reducing himself to a wretched, unrecognizable state, Shin Zichuan ordered his men to capture Tang Shishir. Every form of torture was inflicted upon Tang Shishir. Once again, Tang Shishir was tortured half to death. Trapped in a living hell where she could neither live nor die. Covered in blood, she was strung up, her face smeared crimson, laughing like a maniac. Do you really think doing this will win Qiao Nian's heart back? You're dreaming. You're the one who killed your own son. You're the one who had Qiao Nian raped. You're the root of all this evil. If I was the blade that harmed Qiao Nian and Qiao Anan, then you're the one who drove me in, struck in his sore spot. The ferocity in Shin Zichuan's eyes grew heavier. With a wave of his hand, someone stepped forward and gagged Tang Shishir's mouth with a filthy rag. He was determined to win Qiao Nian back. Chapter 8. A few days later, when Qiao Nian went alone to the cemetery to pay her respects to Qiao Anan, Shin Zichuan followed her. Seeing Qiao Anan's tombstone, he remembered the tiny body from the bag before. Anan, Daddy's here. Daddy was wrong. He struck Anan, blow after blow, with his own hands, kick after kick, crushing Anan's very bones. How utterly desperate and agonized Anan must have been in that moment. Shin Zichuan's spine seemed to give way in anguish as he collapsed to his knees before Qiao Anan's grave. Anan had always thought that once he recovered, the first thing he would do was find his father. He never imagined that their first meeting would end with his own father torturing him to death. Qiao Nian's voice choked up, her throat trembling as she couldn't go on. Shin Zichuan was already weeping uncontrollably, his body shaking violently as he let out a mournful cry like a desperate beast. Anan, I'm so sorry, son. His eyes were bloodshot, filled with profound pain and regret, as he clutched Qiao Nian's hand in a desperate, pleading grasp. Nian Nian, I've endured everything you and Anan went through. What must I do for you to forgive me? He had suffered through every ounce of that agony and torment. Qiao Nian wrenched her hand from Shin Zichuan's grip and cried out, her voice raw with anguish. So what if you went through it, and Anan is already dead? Shin Zichuan froze abruptly, his clenched fist tightening and then loosening. After a long moment, he finally looked up and said with difficulty, do I have to die for you to forgive me? With an expressionless face, Qiao Nian stepped forward. Maybe. A major incident recently occurred in Jiangqing. Shin Zichuan, the head of the Shin family, was involved in a sudden car accident while driving down the mountain. He was rushed to the hospital in critical condition. According to the doctor, Shin Zichuan's will to die is too strong. His chances of survival are extremely low. When the news arrived, Qiao Nian was expressionlessly analyzing the Shin group's reports. Nian Nian, the hatred in your heart runs too deep. I won't stop you from seeking revenge. Just remember, I'll always be behind you. Pei Yanjing recalled the report his assistant had given him half an hour earlier. Mr. Pei, the Shin group is currently leveraged with debt, and their stock is plummeting. If we seize this moment to cut off their funding, we'll shake them to their very foundations. Pei Yanjing's eyes darkened. He had vowed that for every wrong Shin Zichuan inflicted upon Qiao Nian, he would repay it 100-fold. That's why, during this period, he has been secretly setting numerous traps for the Shin group, snatching away a great deal of their resources. This triggered a sharp plunge in Shin group's external stock price and caused turmoil among its top leadership. Shin Zichuan ultimately pulled through. The airbag that deployed from the driver's seat shielded him from the most fatal impact, but upon waking, he found the Shin family empire on the brink of collapse. In the top-floor executive boardroom, Shin Zichuan stared at the equity acquisition agreement before him, a bitter smile touching his lips. She really wasn't going to let him off the hook. Shin Zichuan pulled out a pen and swiftly signed his name on the document. Nian Nian, I'll give you everything you want. Consider this my atonement to you, and to Anan. As Shin Zichuan's pen stroke fell with the weight of 1,000 pounds, the Shin group, which had stood for nearly a century, finally ceased to exist. This meant that the Shin Group, a pillar of Jiangqing for nearly 100 years, had ultimately vanished into the torrent of history. From this day forward, the Shin Group was no more. After the Shin Group was acquired, Shen Zichuan requested a meeting with Qian Yan. Qian Yan initially had no intention of accepting the invitation, yet she suddenly wanted to see if Shen Zichuan, who had always been so arrogant, could still carry himself with that same haughty, aloof dignity now that he had lost everything. Shen Zichuan chose the very place where they had first met many years ago. Shen Zichuan had arrived at the meeting place long before the agreed time. Upon seeing Qian Yan, a bitter smile touched his lips. Nian Nian, I've given you everything, you've had your revenge, isn't it enough? Can you forgive me now? Qian Yan's face remained expressionless. I never once considered forgiving you, Anan was dead, and in such a brutal manner. At the hands of Shen Zichuan, she could never, ever forgive Shen Zichuan. The light in Shen Zichuan's eyes vanished in an instant. For the last time, he tentatively grasped Qian Yan's hand, a look of humble hope shining in his eyes. So, can we start over? Can we be together again? Qian Yan pulled her hand away, wiped it with disgust, a cold, cruel smile in her eyes. What do you think? That look was all too familiar to Shen Zichuan. It was the same look Qian Yan always gave when she refused him, a look that meant never, ever. The last flicker of light in Shen Zichuan's eyes died out, and his heart plummeted into the abyss. Chapter 9. Qian Yan had been kidnapped. When she opened her eyes, she found herself tied up and locked in a sinister house in the suburbs. Under the dim light, Tang Shishir stood before her, staring at her with a grim expression. It had been a while since they last met, and Tang Shishir had changed so much that Qian Yan almost didn't recognize her. One eye was blind, one leg was lame, the whole person resembled a demon crawled out from hell, reeking of a foul stench. Qian Yan, I never thought the day would come when you'd fall into my hands, Tang Shishir said with a ferocious expression, her words gritted through clenched teeth. If it weren't for you, I would never have been reduced to this state. Qian Yan, why won't you just die? A bone-deep hatred contorted Tang Shishir's face. Why, after all my scheming and climbing, do I end up like this? Why, even after being defiled like that, do you still get their favor? Qian Yan, my fate can't compare to yours, but I won't let you off easy. Tang Shishir gripped the bomb's detonator cord, her expression vicious and unhinged. Tell me, if I pull the trigger on this bomb, do you think Shen Zichuan and Pei Yanjing would rush in here to save you? Tang Shishir took out Qian Yan's phone and dialed the numbers for Shen Zichuan and Pei Yanjing separately. One of you, get to the abandoned factory on the outskirts within half an hour, a life for a life, otherwise, Qian Yan will be blown to smithereens. After hanging up the phone, a twisted, manic grin spread across Tang Shishir's face. Care to guess which one of them will show up? Half an hour later, Shen Zichuan and Pei Yanjing arrived in a frantic rush. The two men met outside the abandoned factory, their faces etched with suppressed anxiety and fury. Tang Shishir, her eyes bloodshot and face twisted with insane jealousy, held a bomb and took Qian Yan hostage, teetering on the brink of madness. Why aren't any of you afraid to die? Why would you rather die than abandon her? Tang Shishir had completely lost her mind. Shen Zichuan and Pei Yanjing both glanced at Qian Yan simultaneously, their eyes filled with unwavering resolve and not a hint of retreat. Shen Zichuan tried to keep Tang Shishir calm. Tang Shishir, I'm the one who wronged you. I did all those things. Let her go. Take me instead. Do whatever you want to me. The sight of the two men vying to die in Qian Yan's place cut Tang Shishir to the core. She tugged at the fuse, screaming hysterically. Only one of you is allowed inside. Come in to trade for her life. If you both rush in at the same time. Tang Shishir's hand rested on the detonator cord. Then we all die together. Shen Zichuan and Pei Yanjing both charged toward the cabin at the same moment. Just before they reached the main gate, Pei Yanjing suddenly shoved Shen Zichuan away with a forceful push. As their figures crossed paths, Pei Yanjing whispered to Shen Zichuan, his voice low and urgent, the police are on their way, stay outside and cover me. A step behind, Shen Zichuan had no choice but to halt at the threshold. Pei Yanjing rushed into the room, his gaze softening as it fell upon Qian Yan. Nian Nian, don't be afraid, I'm here, Qiao. Nian's heart hammered wildly in her chest. She shook her head desperately, tears streaming uncontrollably from her eyes. All the forced courage and strength she had mustered throughout the night crumbled to dust the moment she saw Pei Yanjing. You fool. She would rather die than let Pei Yanjing take a risk for her sake. Pei Yanjing gave Qian Yan a reassuring look. Then, he turned to Tang Shishir, his voice steady. I'm in, let her go. Tang Shishir let out a maniacal laugh, her voice like a devil from hell. Did you really think I'd let her go? I have no intention of living anyway. If I die, I'm taking you all down with me." A ruthless, desperate light flashed in Tang Shishi's eyes as her hand shot towards the bomb's detonator. "No," Pei Yanjing cried out, lunging forward with a deafening boom. The explosion roared. Qian Yan's vision went dark as she was completely shielded beneath Pei Yanjing's body. Flames and thick smoke surged into the sky as debris from the roof clattered down. Overwhelmed by the searing pain, Qian Yan lost consciousness. Time itself stood still. The world faded into a monochrome gray. Chapter 10. 3 months later, Qian Yan left the office and headed to the hospital. As was her daily routine over these past 3 months, Pei Yanjing had long since been out of danger. However, just as the doctor said, he never regained consciousness. Qian Yan approached Pei Yanjing's bedside, leaned down, and pressed a kiss to his lips. Then, she sat down beside Pei Yanjing and began chattering away about the day's events. "I've been managing the Mu Group very well, and the stock price has been rising steadily. I've merged the Lin and Company into the Mu Group, and we're hoping to introduce new technology by the end of this year. The owner of that restaurant we always go to got married. His new wife is a girl who's always smiling. She said she'd give you wedding candy next time you visit." She rambled on until the end, gazing at Pei Yanjing's stern, profound face, just like old times, and also, Pei Yanjing. "I've missed you." Qian Yan picked up Pei Yanjing's hand and pressed it against her own cheek. Tears suddenly fell from Qian Yan's eyes, dropping into Pei Yanjing's palm. Watching this scene through the glass door of the hospital room, Shen Zichuan's eyes reddened, and his hands dropped powerlessly to his sides. He knew he had lost to Pei Yanjing for the rest of his life. Even without Pei Yanjing, Qian Yan would never be with him again. He had truly, completely, and forever lost Qian Yan. Qiao Nian buried her face in Pei Yanjing's palm, the scene of their first meeting flashing before her eyes. Those eyes, as dark as night and as deep as the ocean. In that dark ocean of night, he had saved her life. Little did she know, that single glance would decide the course of her entire life. Qian Yan took off her shoes, climbed onto the bed, lay down beside Pei Yanjing, and nestled into his embrace. She recalled the question Pei Yanjing had asked her several months prior. "Nian Nian, are you still willing to stay by my side?" Qian Yan buried her face in Pei Yanjing's chest. "Linshan, if you